more level 2s, and let's go Tesla.
Hopefully.
What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade, formerly known as the Midday Show. That is your girl, Satea.
Hello.
And I'm Sharif. And we're gonna wait for everyone to weasel their way on over. I hope I don't mean any disrespect for anybody to come on over from the other chat. There we go. We got Darwin, Robbie V, Scott H. Haven't seen you in a hot minute, Scott. Been trading up a storm on these small cap gappers. Where you been, my guy? All right, we got a proper paradox. Jeremy Newman. Shout out to Adara. Vic Yan Novak. We got Daniel Gaiman. Hey Davis. TH joining us as well. Barry. Yo to you, my man. We got Kenneth C. and Fiddlebeck. Bob S. Rich Naples. We got Mary S. Lyman. Always like saying her name. Day Trader. Daryl Finch. Gorev. Mackenzie. and Oliver Costeros. Other Zinc. He doesn't like the first type of zinc, Satea, so he went to the
other ones.
It's okay. Not a big deal. Robert Woods as well, 1 beat short, 9 to 5 grind. I always like that name. 1320. Oh, in case you're wondering, that's Wolf. Jose Gonzalez and Vin Duong. Sir SRMRM. That's the last one I'm going to go with. Good morning, Satea. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. So today I was looking at a little bit of NVIDIA. Got in a little bit too early, got in around 10 a.m. at that 123 mark, flushed down to around 121.86, and then we are above that 123 mark, hitting that 124. So a little bit sad about that, but it is what it is. I'm looking to get in around 124.50, hopefully going for that long.
Yeah, man, NVIDIA just did like, hey, you know,
yeah,
nice
said,
to see ya.
Bye, peace.
I'm going back up.
Yeah.
The Katina Man was talking about that 130. We could see that maybe next week sometime.
Yeah,
if we get that nice little bump.
That,
yeah.
for sure.
All right, I'll just talk about the one quick trade I had here, super quick. Meta just got a ridiculous bump up. Something. Wow, Meta, man. Meta just keeps the gift on that keeps on giving. There we go off that 581. Look at that. 1 5-minute candle goes from 573.74 to 586.50. So yeah, that's a big boy candle right there on META, but who's surprised by that? I'm not. So this is the only trade I've had so far. EVGO, a holdover from yesterday after that $1.5 billion that they're getting from the Biden administration. Drop that money, Joe. You got it, baby. 660, I got in there to defend this obvious level. We had been whiffling and waffling, a bit of a consolidation move here on EVGO at that 666 1/3. I punched in long, went my beak up to 75, but true to form, it continues past my exit, knocking on the door of that 690, and maybe we could even see 7 today. 8 1/4. Put some respect on this one's name. By the way, one of its competitors yesterday, ChargePoint, got downgraded. Not saying it's due to this company getting money and them not, but that, you know, you could have possibly an ARB play that way if you guys want to look at that. Today, before we start, Robbie V, 5 quid super chat. Thank you very much, Rob Electric Vehicle. Check out PEV, small cap gapper, over 100% on amazing results. You don't got to ask me twice, Rob, about these small cap gappers. I will oblige quick as you like. Let's have a look at this one. PEV Phoenix Motor. Never heard of it. Okay, so that's probably why, because it is a sub $1 stock, but this is a good looker. Let's start with a wider time frame quick. Okay, no problem. We know what the EVs did during the pandemic or the pandemic, you know, era. Got up into that 850, and it's been a symphony of lower highs and lower lows since that time, but it definitely looks, Rob, that we found our footing at 35 pennies, because look at that triple bottom right there. 1, 2, 3, and now we're moving up. We just took out the 50. We just took out the 200 exponential. This was a big boy mover yesterday. We're still above the 200 exponential today. In fact, Rob, look at where this bottoming tail candle holds up. Right at 70 pennies. What's at 70 pennies? Oh, yeah. The 200 exponential. And the reason I like that, because look at all the rejections prior to that on previous days when we had caught our footing on PEV. We rejected at the 200 exponential over here. Now we're holding it. I like this look. Thank you for pointing it out. We're going to put PEV on the side chart here, but we're going to have to take somebody out. SNAL is going to lose its spot for PEV, so we're going to keep an eye out in this one. Thank you for that, Rob. Play it carefully, though, because you know how these ones are. They're around for a good time, not a long time. Now, look at this. EVGO is headed into $7 now. It's above 10%. It's getting a nice little break. I was expecting some resistance, possibly at 7. We'll have to wait and see. You know, these whole dollar levels have a way of acting as psychological support and resistance for these small cap gappers. Anything you want to mention before we jump into the lesson?
No.
I've been talking for a long time. All right,
go into it.
All right, so let's get to right down to work, baby. We're talking about level 2. We're going to complete our discussion, our lessons this week on level 2. We're going to talk about combining level 2 with some technical indicators, some other stuff, right? Because we don't want to rely too much on one thing. So traders, sharpen your tools. Today we'll learn how to leverage level 2 market depth, the heartbeat of the market, so to speak, along with other technical indicators to help identify the probability, or to identify higher probability, I should say, entry and exit points for these small cap gappers, which may or may not have news catalysts. So let's get right to it. So say it again, Katina Man. The Katina Man is saying that Tesla's flying and it's up over 4% now. So shout out to the Katina Man. It just broke 250. So anybody watching Tesla, it just took out that 250 level. So let's talk about unveiling the breakout on level 2 using level 2 in volume. So imagine a small cap biotech stock, for example. A company announces a positive clinical trial. You've got all the right things, the news catalyst, the smaller float, yada, yada, yada. The stock got gaps up in the pre-market, which they often do. Sometimes a news catalyst comes in at 5, 6, 7. You guys get it. It's usually dropped in the pre at some time. You're enjoying, or you're eyeing, I should say, a potential long position on this name. The level 2 analysis here, coupled with volume, paints what should be a vivid picture. First, you're looking at level 2. You're looking for a concentrated cluster of buy orders that sit right below the current ask. This high bid volume signifies buying pressure. So what I'm trying to say is you're looking for bidders to be coming up with you or to move up with you as the price ascends. So we got the news catalyst. We don't have a halt parameter in the pre-market. We've got a small float, maybe even a higher short float. Who knows? These biotech stocks have a way of being more heavily shorted because of the make or break nature of their business. So then what we're looking at here on the level 2 is as we move up in price, I want to see big boy buy orders move up with me. I've made this case before. Not only does it help backstop the price if it flushes, but it shows me buyer enthusiasm here. So it's reflective of a couple of things. So that's what you're looking for. High bid volume to move up with the ask. Number 2, volume. The breakout from the gap, if it breaks out through the gap, should be accompanied by a surge in volume. And the volume should be higher than the previous volume bars that preceded it. You just need to look, have a cursory view at the volume to see, is this volume bar that we broke out at bigger, better looking than all the, well, not all, but most of the other volume bars prior to it, okay? That indicates to you strong buying conviction. It's not the only way, though. We also want to have confirmation about what we're seeing on the level 2 with some of these technical indicators. Obviously, volume is a technical indicator as well, but we're going to pause for a quick second because Adara's got something for us at the big desk.
Sorry to interrupt the lesson here. Just a couple small cap names to be aware of that are on watch. SOBR, this is fascinating. We have had this one halt already twice today. I'm seeing under 100,000 shares in volume traded. These have both been volatility halts. Just some details on SOBR, which is called Sober Safe. It's run in the past. I'm seeing a market cap of around $1.6 million with a float of 260,000 shares. So be aware of SOBR, again, still currently halted despite very few shares traded on the day. Next up here, we have EVLV on watch. This is Evolve Technology. We have this news coming out here from a Daily News Wire saying that the Department of Investigations is probing Eric Adams, the mayor of New York City, and his administration over the fact that they have apparently installed or tried to install here this Evolve subway weapon scanner technology. So Evolve's technology here under fire from the DOI. Nice little volume pop on that news. It's worth noting here for this one, 13.5% short float, guys.
Thank you very much for that, Adara. Thank you for dropping that sober, small cap gapper. I looked over at Sate. I'm like, the opposite of what you're going to be this weekend because it's your birthday.
I'm gonna
Who remembers that it's her happy belated birthday today? Because we didn't have you on the show yesterday, so we got to do it today.
Well, thank you for everybody who shouted me out for my birthday. I'm gonna be having a good time.
I bet, get it, girl. Oh, I didn't even admit that. There
yes,
we go.
wrong one. Yes.
Yeah. Well, we're Canadian. Yeah, exactly. One more time. All right, guys, let's move on with the lesson. Let's talk about using level 2 and using technicals to confirm what we're seeing on the book. So that's what we're talking about here. So moving averages, the stock price, let's just say is trading above its 50-day exponential moving average, indicating to you that it's in an uptrend. I mean, it's above the 50, it looks good, right? So you're looking for confirmation to see whether or not, this breakout is being supported by other technicals. You also can have an I to the RSI, the relative strength index. The RSI, let's just say in this case, is sitting comfortably below 70, so you're not in that oversold position quite yet, suggesting to you that there's room to move up, even on the RSI. We already know you can move up on the price action regardless of that, but there is a nice little cushion between where you are on the relative strength index and that overbought territory. So keep that in mind as well. So the confluence of signals, right? There we go. Get it, Ob. The confluence of signals like that high bid volume on the level 2, the strong breakout volume, all these things we've got to put on our little checklist there. You're also looking for that supportive technical indicator above the 50, below overbought on the RSI. Do your checklist. Create a checklist to go through prior to entering any of these small cap gappers. Let's talk about spotting the fake out, though, sometimes on the level 2. A bit of a tougher ask here because of how quickly the level 2 moves, especially with these small cap gappers. So another small cap, let's just say, for example, another small cap company announces a new product launch. You get that news catalyst hitting the news blotter. The stock price jumps up at the open, but caution is your middle name. It's not, but it's cool. Here's how level 2 helps you identify a potential fake out. So you spot that level 2. The ask price this time, unlike the high bid below the high bid volume below the ask, this time the ask price sits on a thin layer of offers. This lack of selling pressure might suggest the price increase isn't backed, or sorry, the lack of buying pressure might suggest that this price increase isn't backed by that strong support from that bid side. You should also be looking at the order book dynamics. Suddenly, for example, and this often happens, a large sell order appears just above the current price. This is what we typically call, a big seller, a resistance seller. That could be a whale, for example, testing the waters or trying to take some profit. You really don't know at this point. And oftentimes, you're not even going to see that big seller posted on the level 2. And I've tried to really stress this the last few times we've been trading these small cap gappers. Oftentimes, whales or big sellers will hide the majority of their order, or they'll post to multiple gateways. So one way you can kind of pick up on that, number one, if there's no size on the ask, but we're not moving past that. So say, for example, we're printing 13s right now on EVGO. Say we weren't moving above 13, but there's only a few hundred lots sitting there on the ask. What's that look? Well, that tells you that there's likely an iceberg order, a hidden seller of sorts. How about I was about to mention another example about, maybe I'll come back to it. I just forgot. All right, so let's move on and talk about using confirmation with other technicals. We kind of hinted at this earlier, using the level 2 and the RSI. Specifically in this case, RSI. The RSI, let's just say, for example, shoots up into that overbought zone above 70 very quickly, indicating to you that a possible reversal could be taking place. So keep that in mind. So this combination of level 2 signals thin offer volume, large sell order placement, and an overbought RSI. So you've got a whole bunch of check marks there that could be indicating to you the potential fake out breakout. This will suggest to you the initial price jump might be short-lived. You might consider waiting for a pullback in this scenario rather than trying to punch in at highs, at that critical level. Let's talk about using level 2 and order flow. So for more experienced traders, it's because the level 2 moves so quickly, you're going to really have to practice this. This can even deeper insights. Let's talk about how to use level 2 in this case. So a stagnant order book with no significant changes despite a steady price increase, this calmness can be deceiving. You need to be on the look for that. Order flow analysis though, this shows a continuous stream of small buy orders alongside a few large, sometimes hidden buy orders, icebergs on the buy side. So just in the same way that we sometimes can get prevented from ascending through a top at the resistance, the same way that selling sometimes may not break a certain support level. You may have a hidden buyer there. The iceberg works both ways, both as a buy order and as a sell order. So if we got big boy selling and I was seeing all sorts of stuff come in on the level, on the time and sales, all sorts of red and blue. If you've been watching the show, you know red and blue means aggressive selling on my level 2, but we haven't been breaking that 20 penny level. So what's going on there? Well, basically we've got an iceberg order, somebody who's buying up all those sell orders, whose order is so big it's eating up all the sell orders that are coming in without dropping the price any lower. So icebergs work both ways. So the seemingly flat level 2 essentially hides potential surge in buying. The order flow analysis, though, by looking at that, basically reveals to some extent that institutional or that bigger buying or selling interest, potentially foreshadowing, I should say, a stronger price move. So keep those some of those little tools in mind there, and I hope everybody prints up multiple storms. What do you got?
Thank you for that, Sharif. Very informative. Awesome. So yeah, I was looking at NVIDIA. I'm looking at that 124. It is at 123.86 as of right now. I'm looking to take profits around 124.40, around that day's high. So around here, looking to get in. And that is what I'm looking at. I have my stop loss here at 123.25. So I'm thinking that if it does break VWAP, I'm not liking the trade too much. It really needs to hold that VWAP in for my VWAP floor trade, and it needs to hold that as well. And so who's printing up a storm over there? I see.
Who do you think, man?
Okay,
well, Neil's probably printing too, but the Katina man is, yeah, exactly.
Yes, but NVIDIA is on my watch list right now, and Tesla as well. I was looking to go short. That 250 was an interesting level as well. But I'm gonna wait a little bit and see. I don't want to short it too much yet because we are at highs and we are above VWAP. So I'm a little bit cautious on the short as of right now. But that is what I'm looking at. NVIDIA is more so what I'm really focusing on today, and that's what I'm looking at. Another thing that someone shouted out in the chat, Palantir, and Palantir is near highs again as well. So the highs are around 40.04, and so we are at 40s right now, and so that looks nice as well. I like the fact that it's above VWAP as well. If I were to get in this trade, I would be risking below VWAP around 39.72. I believe that if it goes below that, then my trade is wrong as well. But looking really nice. I really like to get at those highs, and it looks pretty strong right now. Above pre-market high, near the day's high. I'm really liking that as of right now. What about you, Sharif?
I'm okay. Well, someone is $1 in the money. Let me. Can you guess? He's
I don't know.
Go over to his screen. There he is. He's short, long. He's long. He's wetting his beak there. Obviously, the green arrows are entries, reds are exits. Shout out to the Katina man. What did you get in there at below 248.5? Where'd you get in there? That's the dip. 249.5, and where are we at right now, guys, on Tesla? We're breaking a 250 last time. I saw 251. We're on the way up. Tesla's the strongest. $1.30 now in the money. Tesla's far and away the strongest Mag 7 on the day. It's not even close. Second in contention is the Zon at 1.25. Third there is NVIDIA, but NVIDIA's red since the bell, so it's only up 0.88. Guys, this is EVGO. And I traded this long yesterday. I was looking over to the Katina man to get me some shorts. Why do I want shorts in the face of such strength? Because I've been yapping for the last couple of weeks about how I use the 10 exponential moving average on the 5 as an informal gauge of overbought and oversold conditions with these small cap gappers. When they get away too far from the 10 exponential moving average on the 5, they tend to mean revert. It doesn't even mean that they're going to come down to VWAP or even touch the 10, but there usually is a short there somewhere, and here we go. We just rejected 730. I was going to get in 730 and get out 734. Let's give one this. Oh, man, it's getting away from me, brah. So we're going to get short there, and we're going to put the top there to see if we can take advantage a little bit over here, Katina, man. And we're already printing on it. There it is. So very nice trade so far there. Good, good, good. We just got a nice little dip. Let's go a little bit more. We got Adara at the big desk. She's got something for us. What do you got for us, Adara?
Randy and I are going to take a look here at some of the bigger movers on the S&P 500 today to the upside and the downside. I have to have a bit of a theme for this segment. So today's theme is going to be upgrades and downgrades. The first two are going to come from HSBC. We have HSBC upgrading Morgan Stanley with a buy rating, $118 price target. Nicely to the upside here. This one also mentioned on the upgrades and downgrades this morning. This next one is pretty interesting as well. We actually have GEV. This is GE Vernova to the upside, but actually getting a downgrade here from HSBC, though they did raise their price target from 240 to 255. So interesting look here for GEV, up about 2%, and by far the strongest name in its sector today. And last but not least, we have NCLH. This is Norwegian Cruise Line Holdings, making a triple top. We have the whole cruise line space really strong today as a whole, as we see a little bit of a rebound after some weakness due to Middle Eastern tensions and some travel concerns. Today, though, Stifel maintaining a buy rating for NCLH and raising their price target to $29. Yeah, Randy and I giving you that segment here today, guys. That was fun. Nice.
I love this. He's always willing to do funny things.
Fooling around.
Yeah. Stocks yesterday. He goes on the green screen. They posted the chart on the green screen, and he's trying to push it up with his hands.
Strong arm it.
Yeah.
Oh.
You never know, man. Randy's got that juice. What are you looking at?
For sure. So I was looking at UAL. This was on my Yahoo Finance trending ticker list. So I'm looking right now. Looks nice for the short. I like that VWAP ceiling here around 58.79. I'm looking for that short. Looking to take profits around this 56.73. Hopefully could get down that side. And that is what I'm looking at for UAL. Looking at Palantir as well. Yeah, it liquidity grabbed, those highs, and it's coming down to VWAP. So, it could retrace here, but we want to see what it does, how it interacts with that VWAP. That's what I'm seeing here on Palantir. Another thing that I was looking at is the QQQs. I mean, see, with the QQQs, I like it to move in unison with NVIDIA, for the long. And so the fact that the QQQs are kind of breaking down here, I don't really like the fact that it's doing that, because I like when the QQQs are going up and NVIDIA is also breaking through VWAP as well. So that's what I like to see. Not looking too good as of right now. We have this top here, or at least the breakthrough VWAP 485.82. And then it came down here around 485. And we have this range here on 482.35, and then these highs at 487.77. But I don't know. It looks like it could be pretty bearish as of right now. If I was going for the short, my take profit would be around these day's lows. Maybe not exactly at the day's lows, but near around 483.12. That is what I'm looking at in terms of that. And yeah, in unison, let's just pull up the charts side by side. Yeah, I just don't like the fact that NVIDIA is near VWAP, and then the QQQs are below VWAP, kind of giving me contradictory things. Usually it's moving in the same way, but we'll see. We'll hold on. As long as, my NVIDIA trade didn't break through VWAP too much, I have my take profit around 123.25, 123.20. So hopefully, as long as it doesn't break through that, I'm going to hold it. And let's see where it goes. 124.40 as my take profit. And we're just going to keep that. We're working on those paper hands, because I have an issue with that, just getting in and getting out. And I am a scalper, and usually I'm in and out within, a candlestick, within a 1 minute candlestick or a 5 minute candlestick. But I have a good feeling today, and so I'm going to wait for that 124.40, and that is what I'm looking at as of right now. Let's go to Tesla, because I'm interested in that Tesla level at 250. It looks very interesting. So going back to Tesla, this is Tesla. Going back to Tesla. Yeah, interesting. Okay, yeah. So that's why I didn't want to get, too forceful with the long at that $250 dollar mark, because it is that psychological level, and it's like a tug of war. We want to see who's going to win. Is it going to be to the downside or is it to the upside? And right now it's looking down. It's down to that downside, and it looks like it can touch VWAP at 247.69. And I want to see, can it hold that level? Because I feel like that's really indicative of, are we going to hold and stay up and get above that 250 again, or are we going to break down and go to that 245? And let's hope not, because it is a Friday. People tend to take profits on Friday, so we are looking for that. How about you, Sharif?
VWAP's coming in here, Satea, on Tesla, and that is 248 generally. Everybody's a little bit different depending on what time that started or what time your VWAP started populating at. If you started populating at 4, it's going to be one thing. If you started, especially if there's pre-market action too. If there's really not a lot of data to populate in the pre, then it won't differ substantially. But if there is a lot of pre-market action, it will differ. 248 on TSLA, kind of a skewed looking double top now from our week on these reversal patterns. We know that these double tops don't always look so pretty. Perfectly leveled with both troughs or peaks, depending on double tops or bottoms, at the same level. It doesn't usually work that way. So let's go ahead and just give this a try here at VWAP. I'm going to sit at 10s. Let's what's life without whimsy? We'll give it a little bit of room, assuming, of course, it does weasel its way down there, and already showing me that it wants to hold up possibly at the 20. So we're going to go ahead and set up the orders there for the stop in case, it does blow through that level. So we're going to give this one a try. I did get stopped out for the remainder. I had a small position over here left on EVGO short. So this one is continuing to go. It doesn't look like it's ready quite yet, but I'm still biased to my idea. Once we get extended too far on the 10 on these small cap gapperish stocks, then I'm looking to short. It's just I didn't have the right time. So we're going to give this one a try. We're long Tesla here at 10, so it's going to have to hold generally here, or we're gone Zeno. If we get a big break through the bottom, there we go. We got stopped out already. So that's the way it is with Tesla. It doesn't hold VWAP right now. So 0 for 2 on the Cybertruck so far. Tried to take that long stopped out again. Let me see what my situation here is on the Cybertruck. Not too bad, not too bad, not too bad. So we'll look to do a little bit better. Now this could still hold. We could get a specialist breakdown through VWAP. I'm not going to try to get this again. It's going to have to prove to me here that it wants to hold it. We don't need to be first anymore because I'm already getting cut up on it. If it wants to curl and take VWAP, show me higher lows and higher highs, I'll get back in. But currently right now, nothing right now on the Cybertruck. It looks as if the future very, very biased to the downside right now. Now, we're not at IB lows quite yet on the NQ December contract. So let's have a look at what the NQ December contract looks. It looks like it's setting up for a flat bottom break, man, with this obvious area arch, which is a crest, and then we make a lower high over here, all the while looking like we want a flat bottom break through that 20,000. Yesterday's closing print, a little bit below 20,000, but 11 points, 13 points or so lower, 19,987. So I'm going to keep my eye on this one, as well as Tesla, because if I want something to the long side, I feel like maybe Tesla's better poised for it. We'll have to wait and see. Right now, though, everything weak in Mag 7 world. You wouldn't know it, though, looking at these small cap gapper charts. EVGO is a dang rocket ship, man. It is on the way up, 750s, 18% now. When we started talking about this, it was 8%. So we're already up 10% in the span of half an hour on this name. Obviously, it's not unusual for that to happen. So we're going to keep an eye on EVGO. I'm also interested in JetBlue. So this one kind of moving the opposite to Spirit Airlines. And it very much respected the volume weighted average price on that earlier descent. So we got into 7 2/3, came back into 7 1/3, held VWAP, and here we go again, working our way down into the volume weighted average price. I just don't want to be part of a double top. So I'm going to look to see if I can get in maybe at 735, 730, something in and around that on JetBlue to take advantage of VWAP. So that's what I'm looking at right now. EVGO putting a topping tail candle. Oh, baby. Could we get that mean reversion or not quite yet? I'm going to keep my eye out on this one. I would definitely want some of this smoke there.
Yes. So I was looking at Save just because you mentioned JetBlue, and I thought that, the airline sector is really interesting as of right now. What really stood out to me with this Save trade is the fact that it never really broke through VWAP, and I really like that for my long trades. And so I really like that. It is coming down, and it looks like it's going near VWAP as of right now, and around that 158 level. But so we want to look at the top and the bottom, right? So we have this resistance here, which was also the pre-market high. And so we have 179 as our, resistance level. And then intraday, we have it at 178. So pretty close with that top. So very distinct there. But we do have, it comes down and it bounces. It didn't necessarily go to VWAP, but it's above VWAP. And I really like the fact that it just never really broke VWAP. It may change if it does break VWAP, then I might be singing a different song. But as long as it stays above VWAP, I really like this for the long. But just be aware of that 179 level because that could be a banging down level. So just be aware of that. And then going back to that Tesla, Tesla is breaking through this VWAP level. And usually this is the time where I usually like to get short a lot of the time. So I think 250, I usually don't like to risk too much in terms of $2 or $3. But that $250 level is very distinct to me. And I feel like it's a very nice level to risk off of, especially if you're going for the short. So look at that level. Keep that in your mind because it is a psychological level as well. It is near those highs. And so that is what I'm looking at in terms of Tesla. Going back to my NVIDIA trade, okay, so it's breaking down below this VWAP a little bit around this 123.36 level. I do have my stop loss at 123.25 and 123.20. So it may look like, it might hit that stop loss level. So you know what? I was a little bit wrong on there. My real level was actually 120. And I don't know necessarily if we will reach that 120 mark, but I feel like that was really a level to get where I was sure. I feel like 124 was kind of taking a stab because it was above VWAP, but my real confirmation level was that 120 because it's a psychological level. I feel like it was a pivotal level that we were looking at on a higher time frame. And so if we look back here, I just feel like it's the most the level that I have the most conviction in. And so I think I'm going to hands off with NVIDIA if it does hit my take profit level. And that is what I'm looking at. And then Palantir. Okay, so Palantir, it wicked those highs and then it's coming down below VWAP. Don't know what we could really do around here because usually I like the morning drive trades. But because it's below VWAP, maybe you can take a stab at the short, but I feel like that is more like a guess as of right now and more than a definitive level. And I'd like to see what it does at these highs at around $40 or at these lows around $39.41. I don't like to be in the middle of the range, to be honest. I feel like it's just kind of taking a stab. You don't really have much confirmation there, but that is what I am looking at. And I saw you punching those keys, Sharif.
Bad trade on Tesla, good trade on EVGO. That's okay. I'm negative on the day because of this Tesla trade, but I'm going to keep my eye on it. I want to see if it wants to bounce off the 50. Bounced off the 50 earlier at 10.10, so I'm going to keep my eye on this one. I totally forgot. Adara has got something for us at the big desk.
Beware here of PEV. This is a Phoenix Motor. This one, penny stock here up more than 150%. Currently just below that 90-cent level. They did have yesterday announcing their Q1 earnings here. Adjusted earnings per share of 44 cents compared to a 13-cent loss last year. Sales of over 9 million compared to 1.8 million last year. So great year-over-year improvement for sales for PEV, which has a float here of about 17 million, market cap of 30 million, guys.
Thank you very much for that, Adara. Keep your eye out on that one. That will look like a good one for sure. All right, so keeping my eye out on here on EVGO. I did take the majority of the position out here. I don't want to hold this short for too long. Topping tail candle followed by a doji candle. I think this might be all I get on this short, so I'm going to look to flip long, especially if we come into that 715 area. So I'm going to probably cut this trade real soon right now, but I want to leave a little bit for possibly an add, so I'm putting my stop a little bit lower than the 750. So if it gets into that 745, I'm just going to cut it there. But I'm looking for a mean reversion. It's not coming today. I don't feel like I've got the right read on this one. And I'm breaking my rules, quite frankly, because I'm not supposed to short these small cap gappers above VWAP. So that's a rule break right there. So looking to do some damage control on this one, but it is still working to the top side. But I still want to see what this Tesla trade does, because it did wick below the 50 exponential, but it did that same look below, or that same look earlier, where it got into that 50 and then found its footing. So I'm already 0 for 2 on this one. I don't want to go 0 for 3. I'm going to wait for this one to work its way, if it wants to work its way. Back above the 50 exponential, maybe above that 247, I'll take the long. But other than that, I'm just going to stay clear of this one on for the moment. And here it is. Now we're putting a bit of a base, possibly at 246. It's kind of what I expected, maybe a 2-candle pattern below that 50. But maybe if I get it in a better, lower price at 246, maybe I won't get cut up as much right now on the Cybertruck. So much zig and zag on the level 2 right now. So good look. Yeah, possibly here on the Cybertruck. I mean, what's your look on Tesla today?
Yeah, for Tesla, let's go back to that chart here. I feel like it could go near this $245 mark. I feel like that is another psychological level. The 5s, the 10s, I feel like it could definitely reach there before we make any type of direction. I feel like getting in as of right now, you're kind of in the middle range, right? And so you want to wait for more confirmation, and that's the confirmation that I would be looking at. I feel like if we lose that 245, then then I don't know, maybe we could even see 243, 240. You know, but we really want to see, before I even make those types of assumptions, I really want to see what it does around this $245 level, which it looks like it's coming in hot. It's really going down there. And I definitely think that's going to reach there as well. But, you know, Tesla, it's a bamboozler. You know, it could just liquidity grab. Not to say that it will, but we really want to see what it does at those levels, how it interacts at those levels. And I feel like that gives you a more definitive answers whether you should go long from that level or whether you should continue for the continuation of the short. So that is my look on Tesla. Whew. Man, if you we're going in for that long at 250, man, saranara to you.
Can you imagine? I hope they use stops.
yeah, definitely use your stops. And so, yeah, you want to make sure you don't get rinsed, you know, and so make sure that you have those stops, especially at those levels. So looking back at my NVIDIA trade, I mean, it didn't stop me out, which is really nice as well. We have this base here around 123.29 RAM. And so we have,
yes.
And so, yeah.
It's Fabian, though.
Oh, it's Fabian?
Yeah,
okay, sorry. And so, yeah, so it looks like it doesn't want to, stop me out yet, but we're waffling around this VWAP level, and I feel like it's going to be very indicative what we do at this level, whether we come back down or we go back up around this 124. So that is what I'm looking at. Not really making a decisive move yet. So that is what I'm looking at. And someone shouted out AMD in the chat, and so I actually was looking at this in the morning. And I was looking for that long, but then it broke through VWAP, and I was trying to get in around this 167.38 just because I find when there is a break of VWAP, typically I like to allow VWAP to dictate my bias. And so I was looking short on that as well, but it just came down, and then I didn't get the chance to put in my entry level, and so it just came down, and I'm like, oh my gosh, did I miss it? Like, should I get back in? I got a little bit scared because my plan is to get in as close to VWAP as possible, and it does hurt, you know, when you have a level in mind and you see it going through that level and you don't put your entries in on time, and so sometimes you have to miss the trade, you know, and you just have to look for the next trade, so a little bit sad about that, but going to Adara.
Quick note here, coming in for some of these utilities, energy-related names. I have Constellation CEG up here, but SMR and NNE moving pretty similarly here as well. Those are more nuclear-based names that you could check out. I'm seeing reported here and a link to the actual decision that the Supreme Court of the U.S. has allowed the EPA power plants rule to take effect and has actually denied the stays requested here by utilities. So CEG and some of these other names pushing higher, a little bit of chop and churn. Let's see how this ends up resulting, but either way, there is some movement with some volume coming into some of these energy and nuclear related plays, guys.
Love it. Love that play. Love that whole look there with nuclear energy SMR, some of these other nuclear reactors that have been dormant for a hot minute, getting turned back on. You know, we have an entire thing in Northern Ontario. There's a beef right now. So they have this nuclear waste storage facility in a Northern Ontario city. Okay. All right. And the mayor of that city wants that storage facility because it employs a lot of their residents. So they're really happy with the fact that the Ontario government wants to set it up there. But all the other towns don't want that nuclear waste being driven through their towns and cities because there's that.
You can smell and stuff.
Well, it's that small amount of radiation consistently over the years. They don't want it. So it's like that is a logistical issue, some nuclear stuff, right? Like we have to be cognizant of that. They're saying they're storing it super clean. Some other people, you know, they dispute that. Where the truth lies, I don't know. I'm not intelligent enough to know.
Would you really want to be beside?
Personally, no.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's why, remember Pickering? Like a lot of people who live in Pickering don't want to live by that nuclear power plant. In case you're wondering what Pickering is, it is essentially, no, I don't want to live by a coal plant either, Chilean nightmare. But Pickering's basically in the greater Toronto area where we have our huge nuclear power plant by the water. A lot of people don't want to live there because they don't want to live by the nuclear power plant. But it's interesting, this whole issue though, like what do we do? They're not deploying solar, wind, you know, it's got its critics, this, that, and the other. So you got to have some sort of clean energy, and you only have so many choices. So, yeah, no, I love this trade.
Good information to know.
I appreciate that.
Ramin has something to say.
No, you're humoring me, but that's okay. What's that? What'd you say, Fabian?
Ramin has something to say.
What do you need, Ram?
I live by the plant. Do you think I turned out fine?
She says she lives by the nuclear power plant and she turned out fine. There she is in the top right corner. Get it, Ramin. Yeah, you moved here like 5 years ago. Calm down, bro. I'm just joking. Shout out to Ram. Yeah, Chilean Nightmare bringing up a good point. He's like, you know, power lines, you know, living by coal plants. It's all, you know, we all have issues with that. Samuel or Easy Money saying, I work there. Yeah, I got a buddy who works there too. Ontario Power Generation, OPG, baby. Shout out to them. Yeah, represent, says the Chilean Nightmare. All right, now that we've done a little Toronto spiel here, I'm looking back at Tesla. It looks like it got right into your level.
Yes.
The exact level that you called, 245. Look where it's finding a bounce.
Yeah. I definitely like that. Definitely want to see what it does from there. But I'm going to shift a little bit over because AMD bounce is looking a little bit interesting. Bouncing off of VWAP here, 166.98, and looking like it's, I know this is on the minute. Let's look on the 15-minute. I like that bounce on the 15-minute. So I think a take profit level, a nice bus stop level would be around this 168.31, and then again at this 168.67, looking pretty nice for the long. Oh, I don't have the 30 seconds. Let's go down back to the minute. But yeah, I'm really liking the look on that. And NVIDIA just did not want to stop me out. So thank you, the trading heavens. They did not stop me out. So it's looking like it's going up towards my entry level at that 124, and I'm still gonna keep my take profit at that 124.40 because I definitely do think that it can reach up there as well. And then I mentioned save a little bit, and it bounced a little bit off of that VWAP level, went up about 5 pennies. So looking interesting on that as well, but I want to see some more volume because, you know, I know save doesn't really move that much, like too much on the daily, but I definitely think that we can come into around that 170 level. Maybe we may not see that 178, and then, but hopefully we see at 180 to Adara.
Yep.
We're going to take a look here at some of these earnings names. Usually this segment we'll take a look at earnings either day one that's already happened last night or this morning, or we'll take a look at names on the docket. We don't have any earnings today, so I do want to give Sharif credit because he suggested to take a look maybe at some of these deliveries. We did have Rivian here with their deliveries, which are not very well received by the market, as you can tell. We just broke a series of at least 8 candles to the downside here on this 3-minute chart. Currently, Rivian here down about 8%. What were these numbers? They reported here production of 13,157 vehicles, and they delivered here just over 10,000 vehicles, 10,018 vehicles. Analysts, though, were looking for delivery of 12,670 vehicles, so they missed by about 2,500 vehicles. Pretty steep miss there. They also here lowered their annual production guidance from 57,000 to 47 to 49,000. So lowering by about 8 to 10,000 vehicles. Pretty steep here, saying that basically there have been some disruptions to their production, which has resulted in a shortage of supply. So RIVN, on what's the downside here, Now, in terms of earnings on watch next week, we've got Delta and Pepsi earlier in the week, but Friday's where things really get interesting. We know that earnings season starts with bank earnings, and we'll get quite a few on Friday. In terms of big banks, Wells Fargo and Wells Fargo and JP Morgan exactly a week from today here, October 11th, pre-market. We'll also get reports there from BlackRock and Bank of New York Mellon. If you want to look at these or any other tickers on the afternoon show at 2 p.m., go in the chat right now and vote. !Join, space, $, and the ticker of your choice.
Very much for that, Adara. Make sure you're getting your vote every day, guys, because the big kahunas, like, they want to look at the tickers as decided by you, but they're only going to do that if you vote. But only the top 5 make it on, guys. So bully your friends, do what you need to do in the chat, and have your say every day on these or on the afternoon rundown. I'm short Amazon over here. I'm going to give this one the old college try. We got into the 10 exponential, and this one has been putting in lower highs and lower lows. So we'll give this one a bit of a try here. I have a planned DCA possibly at 20 pennies. We'll see if it weasels its way up there, but obviously, I kind of feel like the short is the right way to do it today, especially with Amazon, which is, I think, the number 2 strong, the second strongest name, 1.13. Wow, there was an obvious gap there between Tesla and Amazon for percentage winner on the day. Tesla was like 4%. Now it's 1.14 and 1.90 for both. So definitely looks like the winds of change are coming in there, Satea.
Yeah, so someone shouted out Nike in the chat, and I like this. I like the fact that it's reaching these lows here as well. So if I draw my little line here, so we have these lows around this 82.33 mark. And so typically I like the very distinct like highs or the lows. And so because it's below VWAP, I'm liking my bias for the short. But again, we do want to see what it does at this level because we want to make sure that it breaks through this level. And so another thing that I would look at is also the ATR. So a lot of the time I will just go to FinViz, and then I'll just go to Nike and see what the ATR is, just because I want to make sure that, we're within the range of the ATR level. So usually, on average, Nike moves $2.25, as we can see here, $2.26. So if we go back to Nike here, so today it moved, 83.36, 82.48. Okay, so it's still within that range. Didn't break to the high side or the low side of that 225, but I definitely want to see what it does here in order for the continuation of the short. Going back to Tesla, what are we doing here? So with Tesla, it looks like it's fighting with this 245 level, and so it doesn't look like it wants to get down. A lot of the time, it usually just slips through, and so it's fighting a little bit. Let's just look on the 15-minute, bouncing a little bit. Maybe we come back out at the hour at 12 p.m. and see if there's more definitive move from there. So looking pretty, a tug of war with Tesla. And then someone also mentioned Meta as well. And so what I don't like about Meta is just it's within this range. I don't think we have like a major catalyst as of today. So I don't think that the move is going to be too crazy, but we have this range here around this 588.87 level, and then this low at 581.76. I just don't like the fact that it's just chopping through VWAP, not necessarily staying above or staying below it for too long. So I definitely want to see a break of either of these levels, this high at 588.99 or this low around 581.64 for me to really get involved with that Meta, because we're just in the middle. And for me personally, with my playbook, I don't really like to be in the middle. I like that definitive high or that definitive low, whether on the day or the pre-market high or the pre-market low. What about you, Sri?
Nothing, just still in this Amazon short, waiting for that 10 exponential to come in, where I'm planning to add into this position. But, Amazon is putting in 4 green candles now in a row on the 5-minute. They're not the most the strongest green candles I've seen. Does that help me in a way? Yeah, it shows a bit, maybe a weaker bid than the ask. Again, we're ascending into my area. I didn't cross, so I didn't get my DCA over here. So I'm packing my patience for that 184 break and that 180 or that 10 exponential rejection. We'll see if we get it there. But my out is going to be the break of 30s. So if it doesn't, if it holds below 30s, on my ad, then I'll get out. And here it comes, man. Down it goes without my ad. Oh, come on, bro. All right, so it's okay. We're gonna figure this out. We're gonna keep chugging along here, see if we can extract some profits from said Amazon. Break even on it right now, but definitely wanted that ad at 20s. Didn't get it. We'll keep a watch there. Let's move to some other small cap gappers. Okay. EVGO now actually touching the 10 exponential on the 5, which is at 720. Now I want to see what it does here. So we had a lot of topping tails at 750s. Couldn't break through 750s on a decisive basis, only wicking. All the closing prints look to be south of 740. We're now basically touching the 10 exponential a couple of times right now on the 5-minute chart. So packing my patience there. I want to see if I can weasel into a trade on EVGO, possibly at the 10. Now, if the 10 doesn't hold, this is an interesting one because the 20 is at $7. And I love when that happens, when a moving average that I use, at least on an intraday time frame for shorter term trades, conflates with a level, you know, another psychological level, like 7, maybe sometimes $0.50. It really depends, right? Or previous day closing print, something like that. That's all predicated upon, though, that 10 giving way, the 10 exponential moving average on the 5. So I'm gonna keep my eye on this one. Oh my God, who mentioned PEEV first? Whoever it was, you put the super chat there. There you go. You got the break of $1. Now, whoever it was that was talking about PEV, let me tell you about two things. One, keep your eye out on that $1.12 level. That is the aftermarket high yesterday. I would submit to you that that's going to be a key area of either support or resistance. Number two, we just broke above $1. Now let's see if we can hold above $1. It is an entirely different trade if we can hold above $1 and then use $1 as support. It doesn't always work out that way. There can be zig and zag north and south of $1 to bamboozle you. So just keep that in mind. All right, Amazon is now breaking above that 730. So I'm going to have to give this one a little bit of room. Otherwise, I'm Gonzino. What are you looking at, Stea?
For sure. So I was looking at a news article because someone said DJT in the chat, and I see that it's blasting off and it's at highs as of right now, at least on the day at the 1675 level. And so I really like the fact that we went above this yesterday's high around this 1656 level. And so I really want to see a hold around there if we do see a little bit of a retracement. But I was looking at an article and it said Chief Operating Officer of Truth Social parent company resigns. So I don't know, this came out 3 hours ago. So I don't know if this was something that was known before or it just came out.
I didn't. Oh yeah. He resigned. I think yesterday.
Yesterday. Oh, okay.
Something.
So I'm
like not 100% sure.
Okay.
No.
But yeah, so we have that news there. So looking like the market is reacting a little bit to that. Don't necessarily, I don't usually trade DJT, so not too sure. Yeah, not really. I actually haven't traded it at all, to be honest. But a bus stop in terms of my take profit levels, looking at this 1744 level. That looks interesting as well. But for the most part, locally, I really just want to see it hold this 1654, that's 1650, and see where we go from there on DJT. And then going back to my NVIDIA trade, it's really fighting at that VWAP level. I definitely think that it can hold around this VWAP level, and we are going to go to Adara. She's going to tell us some crazy information.
Hey.
This is the details here on the DJT story. So this was announced from what I can see via an SEC filing yesterday. They filed saying that Andrew Northwall has resigned as their chief operating officer. That's effective September 28th. So this is actually as of late last week, this resignation took place. They also, apparently the company is looking to transition these duties internally. So it looks like internally hiring or internally making up for the resignation of Andrew Northwall, COO, effective September 28th. So that's what happened there. SEC filing there from Trump Media and Technology Group, guys.
Adara, yeah, I remember I heard something about it this morning on Squawk Box, something to that effect. So we'll keep an eye out on that. Tesla's moving back up here, possibly into 246, still south of the 50 exponential, still south of 247. So we're going to keep eyes on that. Apple breaking through the 20 exponential right now. Let's look at some of the Mag 7 names that are moving. Meta above VWAP. You got Amazon working its way back, Chile Nightmare, into that 20 exponential. You got Apple breaking through the 20 exponential, possibly coming into VWAP and yesterday's closing print. This looks like it could be possibly a double bottom here. I mean, you could get a double bottom on Tesla, a double bottom on Apple. Yeah, I think I might be grasping at straws here, trying to see what I want to see. I don't feel like I have a good read on today's market, full stop. It's not really working off my system. I'm trying to get things on moving averages to go with the trend, and now it looks like the trend is changing. So that doesn't work for me. So we're going to have to figure out exactly how we're going to extract some money off this market, because right now my ideas not be working. So maybe we can have a look at some of these small cap gappers. More success with these lately. All right, keeping my eye here on EVGO, still trading above the 10 exponential, despite the fact that we've been putting in lower high and lower lows for the better part of 20 minutes right now. I'm still waiting to see whether this wants to give up the green line. Give up meaning break down below and close below the green line. That is this line here on my chart. If it does, I'm looking at that yellow line, which is the 20 exponential, because it's conflating a little bit with 7. So keeping my eye out on that. Still looking at PEV to see if it wants to hold above $1, so we can possibly use maybe $1 as support at that level. I should also let you know that Donald John Trump is moving, Fabian. It got above yesterday's high, so now we are above the previous day's highs of 1650 on DJT, knocking the door of 1675. It is not flying up by any means, but it is breaking through yesterday's high. So if people were looking to short there, maybe they're getting pushed out a little bit. So we'll pack our patience and have a look there. Not much else for me to talk about, though. What are you looking at?
For sure. So I was looking a little bit at Nike as of right now. And so I was talking a little bit about that bottom here at 82.35. And so we have not necessarily right at that same level, but it looks like a little bit of a double bottom here, and it's going back up to VWAP as well. And so very interesting, because we had the Nike earnings, not too long ago. And so I definitely think that is very interesting. I do want to see more confirmation if I were to go for the long. I'm looking at around 83.05, 83 $3, just because I like the break of the pre-market high for those type of trades. And so I'm looking for that as well. I would be risking the day's low around 82.30, because if we break down through there, then I'm definitely wrong on this trade. But hopefully for this long trade, looking at that $83 mark and looking for that long as well. Hopefully to take profits around 83.35, and so that is what I'm looking at. Mara, moon time. Someone's saying
that's
Mara. Let's see what Mara is doing. Ooh, Mara, yes. See, I like this, and I like the fact that this day's high, at least from the morning, also turned to like a pullback, and then we're going up from here. 1607, really nice pivotal level. I really like the look of that as well. And so if we go on a higher time frame, what is our bus stop level? Bus stop level I'm looking at is around 1650.
What does that mean?
The bus stop level?
Yeah.
Bus stop level, I find like where it may stop, where we may find a pivotal level, and so that's what I just coined that.
I like it.
Bus stop
I
level.
just needed an explanation. I had no idea.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm
I got
looking
you.
at
I got
that
you.
1650 level, and then again at this September 30th high around 1670, and those would be my look as for that level. Come on, SPY, down more. What is SPY doing? Someone in the
Get
chat.
down.
SPY. So let's see what the SPY is doing. Yeah, I don't know. It's a little bit weird. It is at that VWAP level. So if we see some resistance here, possibly we can see a short opportunity. But I really want to see what it does here, because it can bamboozle you, could just break through it. And so really take a look at that, look at the book, and see what it's doing from there. Tesla reversal.
Yeah.
Tesla.
Double bottom right where you called it,
Yes,
bro. Are
and
you
see-
kidding?
Yes, and see, that's why we have to see what it does at those levels. Don't get, too antsy and say, I'm going to short it right there because it's at the lows. You want to make sure that we have that confirmation, and we did see that bounce. So that is looking nice for, the retrace back to VWAP, and we'll see what it even does from there. That would be my next bus stop level at that VWAP around 247.50 and see what we do from there.
That's fantastic. I was going to make a joke about the bus stop, but I don't think it's going to land well, so I'm just going to stay quiet.
That's how you're thinking about it.
I saw that, eh?
Yes.
I was churning the old head. Guys, we are getting a nice little move up there on most of these Mag 7 names and the futures. And they're kind of in no man's land with respect to how I'm gauging things. Now, we're still putting in lower highs on the future, so we definitely held that bottom, but these are area crests. We're still not above that 20,150, and I would submit to you probably need to get above 160 on a closing basis for that good look. But this is a nice little double bottom there. Kind of, if you're looking there, look for the neckline break on a closing basis. I think if we get that neckline break, Katina, man, I think on a closing basis, we could go the future. It could propel a lot of this stuff up. I mean, the Katina man's long T triple Qs right now. At 70. What were you saying, Fabian? We have an afternoon happening now. The Adara. Get it, Adara. Yeah, it's all good.
Adara.
We're going to take a look here at what's been going on since we last saw you a couple hours ago for this Happening Now segment. That, of course, will give you Neil and his lesson of the day. In terms of the biggest thing probably to talk about here that we've seen since we last spoke were some unplanned, and honestly, I did not see them on the calendar here until right before they happened. Some comments from Fed's Goolsbee speaking in this Bloomberg TV interview. A lot was said here, mostly saying that the port strike could be, the fact that the port strike ended could be good for the economy. Speaking as well about that much higher than expected non-farm payrolls number, calling it pretty outstanding, but also saying that there are signs that inflation could undershoot its target. These comments coming through around 10:30. That's what kind of set this market to the downside. As of right now, the S&P 500 finding this double bottom off previous support around 568, now pushing out of that range above 570. So pretty pivotal area here for the market. Lots of continuation plays to talk about here. We're still looking at oil related names. We're still looking at a lot of China names, and we're also looking at a lot of plays in the travel space. We know travel's been on watch this week with regards to what happened in the Middle East. Now it's been impacting travel restrictions, but the biggest thing in terms of individual catalysts to look at today is what happened here with JetBlue and Spirit Airlines. SAVE initially down over 40%. Now recovering here with a double bottom and up, or still down about 25% here, but definitely up from its lows. Basically here we have Wall Street Journal reporting they're speaking to some bondholders regarding a potential bankruptcy discussion. So SAVE here on that Wall Street Journal story. JetBlue to the upside. A lot of these other travel names rebounding nicely today as well. And make sure if there's any tickers you're looking at, travel names or otherwise, vote for them in the chat so that the main show can look at them at 2 p.m. with Sharif on the green screen. That'll be !join space $, and your ticker of choice. For now, though, we're going to take it away with Neil and his lesson of the day.
Thank you, Adara. Lesson of the day. You saw a few breakouts today, so I want to talk specifically about one breakout retest and how you can hopefully, let's try to stay away from the bad ones, or at least get out of the bad ones and look to see which ones are the good for the continuation. Because obviously, if you're taking a breakout trade, rule number one, it's got to be a key level, right? So if it's a good level on the way up, resistance first maybe, and on the break, then on the way back, you're going to usually like that level for a retest. We'll have a few names. We had a host of names you could pick for breakout trades today, but a few of the ones just that we're in. I'm going to start Amazon. We're going to talk some Tesla. We're going to talk some XOM as well, and we're going to end off with that one because I think that's pretty informative to us. So first off, what is a breakout level that we care about? Well, usually a good breakout is going to have multiple points of resistance, not just like the high of the day. So if you zoom in, there's Amazon at 9 o'clock, there's Amazon at 9:30, wick at the open, and there's Amazon breaking out that high. But when you zoom out, it's not like it's a random level. Resistance, resistance, it's multiple points of resistance. So you immediately know that this is the price that you're looking for the breakout trade. Now you observe what happens on the break. It makes a clean move up, goes about $1. It retests a higher low. That's good. Then after that retest of the higher low, this is now 187 even, it ticks the same high. Ticks the same high without actually going higher. The attempt to again hold a higher low was met with resistance. Here's where I think the two missteps for myself on Amazon. The first one was when it didn't make a higher high here, I should have maybe looked for a little bit more strength on the reload. Didn't, but at least we got out right away. And I talked about this already, how I was waiting for here and then took the trade there instead of there. So that's just nonsense for me. It's not the style I like at all. But the key thing you're going to observe is that you hold the higher low, you look like you're trending out above that level, but you're not making any fresh higher highs. I don't think it was super obvious. It was super obvious to be able to get out, I think, when it lost that level. But to not take that third reload, maybe not as obvious as it could be. Now, Tesla, on the other hand, and we'll go to a 15-minute for this. I just want to zoom it out a little bit more so you can see the deal with the $250 level. So here, you've got support going all the way back, support to resistance for a couple of days after the delivery. So that's the significance that you're dealing with, right? So check one. It's obviously a level that everyone's going to be interested in. It goes right there at the open, doesn't break. It goes right there at just before 11 o'clock, doesn't break. Then you get what I feel like was a more convincing, and I didn't really follow my rules as well as I could have, a very convincing failed break situation. It's like break, doesn't go right away, try again, add on the break of the high, starts to go, fails 251. Now on that 15-minute that I showed you, there is actually I can go to the 3 here. There is an overhead resistance at $251. And you can see it pretty much as clear as day. So probably a mistake on my part to have added there, knowing it was overhead resistance. You can go 50 to 51 and you can let 51 break. But once this lost the trend to the upside, you can see there's really no explosion off the 51 level. Not at all. And it's got the overhead resistance. This lost the trend line for me that took it into that move. I jumped out of it, realizing, what am I doing in that trade? Let's jump out of that one there. But I broke a rule of mine because overhead resistance, broke trend, there's it failing the trend line. That's kind of like a mean reversion short entry. But again, the key is when it dipped back into the prior level, it couldn't break out the top. And when it doesn't break out the top after consolidating there, you have a setup for a failed breakout. And that's one where you've got to be very careful, because if it does it too many times, Amazon failed it kind of early. Tesla did the same thing. You get that crazy mean reversion. Then you have to wait. VWAP no good. You have to wait all the way to the bottom to take some trades and then play into VWAP. That's not the story. The story is, what does it look like when you have a good test? A good test like an XOM. So XOM, obviously, well, like the daily chart, this is all-time highs in the daily chart. So pre-market high, opening range high, all-time highs on XOM. It breaks it out, retest, and then when you take the high again, there is a higher low. And when you see this, there's a couple of ways you can play it. Now, obviously, it never even gets back to that previous price, which is good. You don't necessarily want to be retesting the breakout price. Ideally, you can form a trend going back in here, and if you were to have done that, something along these lines, like you're going to see when it holds that breakout price, high or low, dips back in, it holds the trend line. Suddenly, you've got yourself an entry, which can be late to the breakout, or it can be adding on the breakout where you're making higher highs and higher lows. And I didn't trade XOM today, and we felt like we should have, but obviously the whole point of the lesson of the day is like, what could you do differently? What's the stock you were looking at that maybe you didn't pay enough attention to? But that's a breakout where the continuation showed you what you wanted. It maintained the trend. When it dipped back into that prior breakout price to get you a re-entry, when it broke the high, it then kept on going. That meant you can add at higher prices. You can hold on to that trade, not worry about scamming out of profits way too quickly. And it's still going to the upside. Might not have the steep trend line that it's got, but just a stronger move. Because ultimately, we know when you have a key level like this, it works both ways. Good levels are because you run away from the price and give good opportunities for wins. That meant to me, Tesla had the opportunity to go 50 to 54 to 57, but it also has the opportunity to go 250 to 245. It's the same thing with Amazon. You have to be able to spot when it's not making higher highs and higher lows, when it's not able to break that top again off of your rebound level, then you're risking all the way back into that low of the day, and you don't want to be holding it the whole way. Because if you hold the whole way back in, you're pretty much never going to be positive on the overall strategy. The breakout needs to work right away. Separate the breakout from the dip buy. That's two things that you've got to be able to separate. And if it's not making higher highs and higher lows, if it's bouncing off of that previous breakout price and it's more shallow on the bounce, then you got to be careful about reloading it every single time, because your downside risk each time on that test gets worse and worse. There's people that are loading into longs as well on that level, so when it breaks, more people have to get out. So breakout trades, ideally you want to be getting higher highs and higher lows and not constantly reloading at that same price. That's a support and resistance trade, reloading at the same price. On a breakout, you really don't want it to be doing that. You'd rather it be making successive highs, and you can continue to join higher and higher. So the lesson here, we got Amazon, not good. Tesla, not good. XOM, an example of a breakout that gave you the continuation that you wanted. So good luck in the rest of your trading for the rest of the day, and we'll see you later.
Very much, Neil. Eloquent, informative, and just all around awesome as always. Neil Roberts, everybody, dropping that knowledge. I'm not allowed to say hotlines anymore.
No.
Dropping that. We'll get to it later. Dropping that knowledge every day around that noon time. You like that? You like what he had to say? Join us every day around that noon hour. Neil Roberts, lesson of the day. Thank you again, Neil. All right. So he was talking about Amazon, and I happen to agree. Finally, I get a good trade on a mega cap stock today. Short is on about 40 pennies in the money. Wet my beak a couple of times. A bit of a bigger position for me. So I've got a couple of beak wetters. We'll see if this one wants to continue out to the downside, but Amazon's been awfully strong. The reason I got it over here was a 50 exponential pullback, and it's shown you its propensity on the day to reject at the 50. Let's have a look at what it did earlier. This is the topping tail candle that printed right at 11 a.m. It got into the 50, wicked, rejected. The subsequent candle the body didn't even touch the 50, only the wick. Got into the 50, rejected. So I was like, all right, you're not trading that well today. What is something that is quite predictable in terms of what it's proved itself to do on the previous attempt, which was the 50. So the 10 didn't matter, the 20 didn't matter, the 50 didn't matter. So that's what it's using on the day, and that's what I'm gonna try to base my trades off if I continue to trade Amazon. But it is finding support at the $0.50 as the future also gets that 20,100 point pump. Okay, so here we go. Now we could be putting in higher lows and maybe higher highs. That 20,160 break is still elusive, despite the fact that we worked our way up above VWAP. My ultimate nightmare is that we range, and I keep anticipating a breakout or breakdown. I hate that. When I'm mentally prepared for a range, I can trade it as a range. But when I keep anticipating a breakout or breakdown and it ranges, that is where I do the worst. I'm just speaking for myself. So right now, what I'm trying to see or trying to discern is that we've got higher low on the future, but we also have a slightly lower high as well. So I don't want to say it's a compression pattern because, well, it kind of is, but we don't have enough data is what I'm trying to say. So I want to see exactly, number one, can we get above VWAP? Number two, can we continue above that 20,160? That's really going to, be the deciding factor of whether I still hold this short that I've got here on the Zon or not. 30 pennies in the money right now, but giving back some of the profits as we reascend to the top side. So lots to talk about right now, guys, including some of these small cap gappers. I should let you know that I was waxing poetic, to use an Adair term, about PEV, and here it is. So we got that 116 touch, and now we're down at $1, and the dollar is the 10 exponential. This is an interesting area in which to get in because I don't think you need to risk that much here for a possible pump up. Now, keep in mind on PEV, we did break yesterday's high. So that $1.12 area we broke. Now we're at 116 HOD. We have the 10 exponential pointing to support. We have the dollar pointing to support on this name. Let me give you the details of PEV because I don't think I've mentioned it. Phoenix Motors, $35 million market cap, 152 million shares traded on the day with a float of 10.1 million. Oh, wow, that's like 10 times float rotation, bruh. Let's have a look here at PEV. Short float, trade idea says 1.68%, so quite negligible, quite frankly. I want to see whether this holds up at $1. We're going to have to load this up on a trading screen. and have a look. Do I already have it on? Man, that tiger looks good too, bro. Jeez. All right, let's load up PEV. Here it is. Here's the dollar. Is there a thick bid at the dollar? Now let's do a quick comparison. When we got to that dollar, that size in and around the dollar area, I'm talking about $1, $1, $2, much thicker than what was sitting at 102, 103, or sorry, 103, 104. Let's make that comparison because that's really what it's going to come down to. Obviously, excluding hidden buy and sell orders that we can't account for. So let's see right now. I'm just watching the book to see whether any of the size at 1 or 2 gets eaten because I definitely want to jump in here. I could give this to like 96 pennies. That's exactly what I'm going to do, man. I'm punching long. Let's go. We're going to give it to 96, come what may, and that's what's going to go down there. What are you saying, Sathya?
Yeah, so I'm looking at SPY. Someone shouted out SPY in the chat. It is looking pretty bearish as of right now. We're looking at higher lows. So we have right here, like, it's just on this downtrend here. And the fact that it's below VWAP, I'm liking this short. So I have my order set in here at 569.40. So we are, so around here, can't really get it around there, but 569.40. If we can get down there, I'm going to be getting in there and going to be risking to around 568.77. That is my look on the short for SPY, just because, I don't know, for the long, yes, we do kind of have this double bottom here, but it's been struggling, you know, all day. And so we can't really get above VWAP. Every time it tries to get above VWAP, see around here, around 1107, 1106, it gets up to 570.70. And then again here, you know, we break a little bit above VWAP, but it's not very convincing enough for me. And then 570.75, we get a breakdown around there. So hopefully, if it gets down to that 569.40, then I'll be getting in for the short. And then going into my NVIDIA trade, it's just, you know, not doing much here. I didn't necessarily, a little piece of my position got clipped for my stop loss, but I'm still in a little bit of it. And so it did get near my take profit around 124.37, and then my take profit was 124.40. So, you know, 3 cents off, a little bit sad about that, but I still believe that I'm pretty convicted in this trade, and I'm still going to keep my take profit there at 124.40. Hopefully holding this VWAP level around 123.70 and going up for that long. And then so let's look at Tesla, because Tesla has been, you know, it's near that VWAP level, and so this is what I would be wary of, because a lot of people are saying, you know, are we going for the long or are we going for the short? I would still wait for that 247.44 level. We are still below VWAP, so a little bit worried about that in terms of the long, but we really want to see that confirmation around that level. And then the two key points that we are looking at is that 250 level as well, but for a little bus stop level, 247.47 is what I will be looking at as well. And so what are you guys looking at? Let's gonna take a little skim here. See anything interesting? I don't see anything as of right now. What are you looking at, Shri?
Okay, so I'm in EVGO. I'm about to get printed here. It looks like, here we go. 48, bang. Finally, I can get a dub today. Oh, wow. Shock. So there we go. No, thank you, Chile Nightmare. I appreciate yours. Is that the? Oh, it's a Ram. Oh, that failed then. I'm just kidding. So I just got the print there on EVGO. I'm very interested, Ram, in adding at 720 again, because we have been very respectful for whatever reason of that 7 1/5. I had my DCA out there to take advantage of that. It didn't come in. So, you know, I wet my beak there, but that doesn't mean the trade is over for me. This has been awfully respectful. And by this, I'm talking about EVGO of the 10 exponential moving average on the 5-minute chart. Just have a look, have a gander about how nice and respectful this has been. Only a couple of wicks actually breach the 10 exponential. But as you can see, we're kind of looking bull flag-ish here, right? Where we get that big move up and then we get that sideways consolidation, a little chop. With that 750 essentially acting as that key level of resistance. We'll see if we can breach it, hence why I got out there at 49s to account for that $0.50 resistance. All right, so happy with this trade, but definitely looking at adding at 720 again. Now, the other one that I've got, PEV, in this for the dollar trade. I want to make that very clear. The 10 exponential is there. The dollar is there. I'm looking at putting the odds on my side, whether that manifests or not, an entirely different story. But I do like that 10 exponential conflating with that whole dollar level, which we know sometimes is a psychological support level. Having a look at the recent price action, though, at least since we got up into 16s, high a day there. Look at this. There's been a seller at 4s over and over again. Now, let's look at the size on 4. We're not even at 4 right now, so we can't see the full picture, but there's already, I can tell you, well over 1,000 lots, which is not that much for a dollar name. And that's what we can see, guys. That's what we can see. Again, iceberg orders are a real thing, and they're used often on all these stocks. So we'll see if we can weasel above 4. That's my look there. I'm trying to break above that, and then I want to wet my beak into the high teens. Again, EVGO rejecting 7.5 again. So I want to play the range if I can, wet my beak here. For an entry at 723. Shout out to Jordan. And so that's why I'm sitting there to defend 720, front running it by a couple of pennies, in case it doesn't work its way all the way down into 20. So that's my move on that. I took a good trade on Amazon. I'm really happy with this trade. Where the hell is it? Excuse me. Here it is, and I'm even happier about where I got it out, Satya, because look what it did. It reascended, but Satya, we have another lower high at this 184.80. Last time we weaseled into 90s. If we don't make another high here, that's a third lower high in a row, and I will be looking to short on this one. So AMZN, super important to me today because of its respect for the 50 exponential moving average on the 5. I don't know why it's respecting that level, nor do I really care. I just know that it does. And have a look. This is what I'm talking about. Once, twice, and OB thrice. We'll see if it can break above it. I know, I love how you're giggling. Just humor me, girl. I'm just having a good time.
For sure. We always have a good time on this show. And so what I'm looking at is CRM, because someone said CRM in the chat. And so I really like this, guys. You know why? Because it is above this pre-market high. And you guys know me. I love my pre-market high. You dig? And so 284.93 is definitely an interesting level that you could have got in at. And so based off of the ATR, a little bus stop level that I had is this $287 level, because on average, if we look here on my little FinViz here, $6.46 is the average ATR on the day for CRM. And so I want to make sure that, who is that?
I told you, that's Adam. He's trying to hide. Look at him, he's trying to hide.
There we go. He's like a little sim character.
He doesn't even know he's on. It's jokes, but look at him.
But yes, so going back to the CRM trade, 287 is my bus stop level, just because it is at like the top of that ATR high, and so that is what I'm looking at on CRM. And so Palantir, I was going to go into this thinking that it may be a range, because we got to that high, came back to VWAP, got up to this high around 40, came back to VWAP, and now we're breaking through those highs on Palantir. So that was a really good look. If you got at VWAP, that would have been really nice. You could have risked off of this 39.70 or even days low around 39.42. Not too much, not even $2. So that definitely would have been a really nice trade on that. And my NVIDIA, it's not really doing much. It's still holding above VWAP. I'm still convicted. So we're waiting for that volume, and hopefully we get that there. 124.40 is still my take profit level, and hopefully it gets there. But you know what? Sometimes, you want to have like a time stop, depending if you're staying in that trade for too long. But I like the fact that it is holding above VWAP, so I'm still going to stay convicted. But if it does break below VWAP, I'm not going to give it to that 123.20. I feel like that is, that's not just, it's not what I want to see. I want to see it stay above that VWAP at 123.66, call it around there. But if it breaks below 123.50, I think I'm going to get out, reassess, and go from there. Bam, CRM. Yes, CRM, it's looking nice there. Really nice. That 287 level is definitely something that I'm looking at. SoFi about to rip. Let's look at that SoFi. SoFi. Oh, wow. See, that is something that I was actually looking at around VWAP, but I was just like, I'm a volume girl, right? So I'm like, I don't know, but it was really holding that VWAP at $8, and that psychological level at that $8 level, you know, it could have been an indication for me kind of breaking through that pre-market high as well, around 803. So I should have, you know, been invested in that. But you know what? Like, it is what it is. It's not really an environment that I typically trade. And so I'm just very strict with, you know, the type of tickers that I do get involved in. But SoFi looking really nice as well for that long. And so, yeah, we broke through this pre-market, not pre-market high, this day's high at 810 and looking really nice. We're 7 cents up from that. And so that looks really good as well. ASTS having a nice day. Haven't heard of that, but let's find out today.
Astis?
Yeah. You know anything about that, Astis?
Been trading that for a hot minute. Because
Really?
the names. Yeah. I'm like,
I don't know much about this one. You know, I like to have my tickers above like $100, $80 if I'm feeling a little bit spicy.
Hey.
Below that, I don't really look at. So not too acquainted with this, but this looks really nice as well. I like the fact that it is above this day's high, around 24.66. To me, this would be my pivotal level. It looks like it may, you know, waffle down to VWAP, but another level that I'm looking at as well is this 25.40. That could be a retracement level as well. Looking at that around 25.36. Yeah, I'd call it 25.40. Looking at that 25.40 and then again at VWAP for a potential dip buy at that 24.85. So definitely looking at that. Mara 1650 bus stop. Let's see that Mara. I love that you guys are liking that bus stop level. Yes, 1650. Definitely think it could hit there. That is also a psychological level. Those 50s, that even dollar at 17. So definitely liking that as well. Damn, she got money to play. I mean, ASTS to challenge Starlink. IBIT new high of day. IBIT. Let's look at IBIT.
Who's challenging Starlink? I need to see this.
IBIT. Oh. I'm going to bring it over to Sharif while
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I'm back in EVGO, just like I said I would, to defend this level. Give me my damn money, bro. Jeez. Okay, so we're defending 720 again on EVGO as it respects that 7 and a 5th level over and over again. Now we've got, I don't know how many double, triple, quadruple bottoms we have there. So looking to add again if it weasels its way down into that level. So that's trade number 1. Trade number 2, I was able to scalp a little bit off PEV, looking at adding if it weasels down into $1. What I like about this one, more than I like about others, is the respect for the dollar and as well as the incrementally higher lows that it's doing. So good look there. I'm also interested in getting in right now on, oh man, I missed the entry. I should have been at the $0.75. TIGR back up again. This one, thank you for, I think it was a Dill maybe in the chat telling me, be like, yo, bro, did you cover TIGR? I started looking at this one for an 80 penny dip trade, and then it weaseled down into 75, and I was like, all right, give it to 60, because that's where the 10 exponential's hanging out. Shows how much I know, because it's right back on the way up. TIGR looks awfully good here, but look at this, PEV coming down again. I need to watch out to see, does this make another higher low? I'm sorry I'm jumping between all of them, but you know how these small cap gappers work. They don't give you a lot of time to think. You got to be quick as you like. Look at EVGO. I got that one again. Yes, happy with this one. Defending 720, going to take that out and going to add again at this level because I like it. Shout out to Jordan. We keep sitting at 23s. All right, let's see what else we got over here. Bang on Tiger. We take it out through the break of 90. Now I'm looking for 11. So I like these small cap gappers. I don't know why I even messed with these large caps today, man. It's not my time to trade these large caps. I love these small cap gappers. Let's go, baby. What is that thing? Who's that? Is that? It's like, what's happening over here? Ram, what are you doing? I love it. I'm all serious and like pumped up and stuff. This woman's like, I know. I'm kidding. She's like, it's Friday, bro. Calm down. So I appreciate you, Ram. Thanks for making it a little bit lighthearted there. Yeah, so that's a look. What are you looking at?
For sure. So I got triggered for SPY short. And so we are a little bit out of the money, to be honest. It liquidity grabbed around that 40, grabbed me, and then just went up a little bit at that 560 981. So I put my stop loss here around 570.65, and so hopefully it doesn't go above there, because if we go above VWAP, I'm thinking that it's not the trade that I thought it was. So that is my look on SPY. And then going back to IBIT, because my chart was messing up a little bit while I was looking at IBIT. And so IBIT looks nice. I really like the fact that it's approaching near this high. It's around 35.25. And so I really want to see a breakthrough there. But what I do like is it's above VWAP, really liking that. But one thing that I don't like about this chart is this nasty wick in the pre-market at 8:30 from that 35.45. I mean, it may not mean too much, but I would just be on the lookout for that level as well. But as long as we can stay above this 35.25 on IBIT, that looks strong, that looks great for the long, and that is so what I'm looking at as well. And then going back to a little bit to Tesla, it's making its way up to that VWAP, and still we want to see what it does around there, if it slams down at this VWAP or a little bit above, or if we blast through that VWAP and then retrace back to that 250 psychological level, really something that we want to look at as well. And then what else are we looking at? SMCI long. SMCI, let's look at that today.
Down 2%, I think.
Down 2% near those days lows. Not looking very ugly on the day. I mean, you know, for those longs, I would look around, you know, this 40.54, but again, we want to see what it does at that level. That is a level that I'm really looking at as of right now. Wouldn't rush into the long, wouldn't rush into the short, just because it's right in that middle. And so I want to make sure that I have more confirmation there on SMCI. The high-pitched talk up and down. Yeah, I know. I have a very, you know, dynamic kind of voice, so shout out to that. AMC, man, I haven't heard about that since the pandemic. AMC blasting through that VWAP. Oh, we have the little monkey on a rocket ship. I love it.
He's an ape. The apes.
Oh, it's
Remember
an ape?
the apes? Yeah.
What is that? Like
Remember, like the AMC apes that were like the people who were like very pro AMC and like the
No,
moon.
I didn't.
They used to call themselves the apes.
Okay, all right. So looking through that, so 439 was a nice bounce through that VWAP level. And so the bus stop levels that I'm looking at, if you guys can guess, what do you think it is? But I'm going to tell you guys, if you can't get in the chat too quickly, it's going to be that 450 mark. And so that is what I'm looking at that bus stop level. It is that high, so definitely something that I'm looking at. But what I do like on AMC is it has this base, and it really stayed above this base starting from around 1018 to, you know, around this 1230 mark. And so, yeah, I really like that. Had this consolidation below VWAP. Really definitive, what are we doing from here? But I like that it had this consolidation before the break of VWAP. I find when this happens, typically it's more confirmation that it will stay above, just because that consolidation was that push and pull. You know, who's winning, the bears or the bulls? And I think right now the bulls are winning in this case. And so that is what I'm looking at. What are you looking at?
Trying to manage these trades right now with Tiger. We were able to extract some profits there, but it's zigging and zagging right now. Here's what I'm seeing on TIGR. It's a good look. It's been an awfully directional stock. Have a look at what it did yesterday and the day prior to that. Go to Adara, says, Ram, just one sec, Ram, $11 high a day, guys. I'm trying to base my trade off the 10 exponential. We'll talk more about that and the other small cap gappers once we get back from Adara at the green screen.
IWM looking really interesting here. This is our second small cap segment. We'll take a look at some of these runners, maybe moving midday or that are still making some moves worth discussing. We had, of course, the IWM, the Russell 2000, in a bit of a range here, base of around 217.80, the top of around 218.60 more or less. So you're getting about an 80-cent move to the upside and downside here. To be fair, though, these highs definitely removed from that high of 220 that we wicked into, but we're not really able to eclipse since. In terms of runners, we have to talk about Phoenix Motor, which I know Sharif is involved in here. PEV, this one up more than 100% here. Really strong Q1 sales here that they were reported, and also earnings per share on a year-over-year basis to the upside here for PEV. Next up, we have to talk about PLL. This is Piedmont Lithium. I couldn't see any news on this one. Pretty strong here to the upside, still up about, from what I can see, roughly 20%. Worth noting here, pretty decent short float on PLL, 18.8% short float. Last but not least, BENF. This one was on both our watch list and our morning small cap, but worth noting because it's still pretty strong here. Beneficient here. This is a name that, again, has also run in the past. Their subsidiary announcing here that they've gotten $126 million here in preferred equity. So BENF with a 6.5% short float. One to keep an eye on, guys.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much, Adara, for that small cap segment, my favorite segment. All right, guys, I took everything out of TIGR here as it did breach. It triggered my level at 95, so I'm happy with this trade. I'll look to set up again on TIGR if I get a bit of a better look. Ideally, though, I'd like an 11 break and take because we've been whiffling and waffling south of 11 for the better part of almost 20 minutes or so. And so I'd rather not use it as a level of support, or sorry, resistance. I'd rather use it as support, excuse me. So we'll see if this one wants to breach or not. SP Williams, is the Katina man playing SMR? The Katina man is nowhere to be found. He may be doing a walk and talk right now. He may be with Adam. I'm unsure. Shout out to SP Williams, though. Thank you very much for that $2 super chat. SMR, bro. I know it's not, that's not the name of the company, Small Modular Reactors. SMR stands for, it's New Scale Power, but that whole energy play I'm very interested in. SMR, that general sector, small modular reactors, nuclear reactors, obviously I think are super interesting. So when the Katina man does get back, SP Williams, I will have him chime in on it. So that's a look there. The only trade I'm in currently is PEV. I've taken out everything else, both EVGO. I'm looking at adding, though, on EVGO. As you can see, I'm looking to defend that 20 penny level. It's been awfully respectful of that fifth of a dollar, keeps bouncing into there. What I see is a possible bull flag continuation. Sometimes the flag just a lot longer than you'd like it to be. We'll see what this one, presents us in terms of opportunities. But PEV is the one that I'm in right now, and I'd like something maybe around 114. It did work in to 108, but found resistance, and that's not surprising because we had rejected there before. So it looks like that same seller coming in. What I do like about PEV is defending a dollar, defending the 10 exponential, and it doesn't look like it, but incrementally, albeit by 1 penny, putting in higher lows every time. So we'll see if this one wants to manifest to the high side. I would be pleased with that. Donald John Trump, I did mention earlier, bless you, Ram. DJT up 2%, not really doing a whole hell of a lot, but it did find a bit of support right now at the 20 exponential. Bless you, Ram. And the thing about this one is, this was kind of the implied balance high at around 1645. It looks like we did defend that on a closing basis, not a wick basis. Now, I'll get into DJT. I don't have a problem with that, but it's going to have to curl. So right now, we're still getting that same pattern of lower lows and lower highs. I need to see something a little bit different where we start curling. Show me the propensity to work back into the high side there on DJT. Otherwise, not touching that. I've done very poorly today on large caps, except for Amazon. Amazon was a good trade, but I don't feel like I have the best read on these large caps, so I'm going to steer clear of them for the moment until it sets up a little bit differently. What I should tell you, though, is Amazon up 1.85, certainly off the highs at 187.60, but it's coming into an interesting area in my estimation, which is the volume weighted average price. And VWAP here also happens to be very similar to the area crest that we put in at 11. This 185.30, 185 and a third. We're talking about the 40s for VWAP, so we're talking about 5-6 pennies on a $187 name. So essentially, you could kind of make the argument very similar or the same levels. I want to see if we reject here. You're not going to catch me with a resting order, but I will be very interested to short Amazon at this level, owing again to the area crest that we put in at 11 and the volume weighted average price being in that region as well. So that's a look there. But as you see it, we're curling up a little bit here on these Mag 7 names, no doubt about it. Oh, wow, this is an interesting look here on goggles. 50-period rejection, 50-period rejection. You see what I'm on this? 50-period rejection. Uh-oh, where are we? At the 50-period. However, we put in a higher low this time around. The Katina man, there was a super chat for you asking, are you playing the SMR trade? Small marginal, are you getting into that energy trade? The Katina man is already in it in his swing account. I kind of had a feeling you were Katina man because it's a good look. I didn't even look. I didn't even look. He's in at 12 and change. Where's it at? 13.50. Somebody, I don't know who, is $1.50 in the money. Whatever, bro. It's still good. I like it, Katina, man. Shout out to you. So he's $1.50 in the money. I like this SMRs. I waxed poetic about it before he got back. It is a good look, guys. We need energy, not just for these data centers, but electric vehicles with mass adoption. We just don't have the grid to charge these EVs, let alone about the fabs, the fabrication plants, the foundries that make these EVs, or in Tesla's case, the gigafactories. Do you know how much energy those things take? So there's ridiculous amounts of energy required. We don't have the output. We're going to need it. Where are we going to get it from? So that's the educated guess there. Look at Softy. Here we go with the future. The Mag 7's curling, guys. Meta's on the way up. Amazon broke VWAP. Microsoft is going to break 419, it looks like. Goggles is well above the 50. Good thing I didn't take that short as well. So we have a nice move right now on the future and on the Mag 7 to the high side. Tesla's knocking the door 248.5. NVIDIA is back at a key area of resistance, this 124 and a third. Whatever reason, we rejected there last time, albeit with higher lows. So it looks like maybe the winds of change may be coming in on this market. The dead one's still dead, though. It's still below the volume weighted average price. But I think we are going to break 20,160 on a closing basis here. We'll see. On the NQ December contract, Satea, and that was the level we were saying that would change kind of the pattern that we would had of consecutively lower highs. We get above this area and close, well, then that's a higher high. So we'll see what we get with that. What are you looking at?
For sure. So I got stopped out of my SPY trade. I was looking for the short, but it does look like it's breaking out, and it looks like a nice setup for the long. I'm not really a person to like flip long and then flip short, but it does look like a really good setup for the long. It broke through this trend line here, and the pivotal level that I was looking at is around 570.82. So looking really nice. I feel like if it could hold above VWAP, definitely looking nice for the long. And then going back to IBIT, we are at around this pre-market high level, around 35.47. Looking like it could hold, to be honest. It didn't look like it slammed down from that level. It looks like it's making a little bit of a consolidation here. I know this is a 1 minute. Let's change it to the 5, just for a little bit more confirmation. Yeah, I really like that. It is above now that pre-market level, 35.45, and we are currently at 35.49, looking really nice for the long on IBIT. So shout out. And I also was hearing that Bitcoin is blasting off, so it might be moving in unison with that as well. And then going back to my NVIDIA trade that I've been in since 11 or 12, it's moving up to that 124.40 level as of right now. Glad that I didn't stop out of my whole position with that one. Did take, a little bit of a cut. I had a stop loss around 123.25, 27. I guess it went to 123.28. So yeah, so I had it around 28s, 25s, got stopped out with there, just a little piece, and then it's on the way up here. So 124.40 is still my take profit level, and so we're in the money as of right now, and I'm hoping that it does get to my take profit level. So looking good on that. And then I've been looking at Tesla, and I've really been deciding whether or not I should go in for this long with Tesla, just because we did have that bottom around 240. And then we are above VWAP, which I really like, but do we have enough steam to really get to that upside? Because a profit target that I'd be looking at is around 249. I don't necessarily want to take profits around 250 just because it was that level of support and resistance. Not support and resistance, but resistance. So I want to take profits around 249, but I really want to see what it does around this level.
Pardon me?
If I'm looking to get in at this level, I'm looking at around 247.45 for a potential, a little bit of a dip buy to the upside for
that.
Tesla. Someone is saying INTC weak at VWAP. Let's look at Intel.
Intel weak? No way. Can't be.
Yeah, it's just been, within this range. You see this range here around 22.31, as well as these highs around 22.87. I just don't like this range. It doesn't really give me a definitive answer as of right now. Maybe if we go on the higher time, let's see. Any bus stop levels? A bus stop level that I'm seeing is 2272. But on the day, I'm seeing here 2268 as well as 2280. But we really want to see more volume coming in as of right now, just because it's chopping through this VWAP. And typically, I don't really like when it chops through VWAP. And then someone's saying, woohoo, SPY, woohoo. So let's look at SPY again. Yes, it is breaking through. And so I really like that for the long. Definitely shout out to you guys. You guys are printing on that. And then so we're going to go to AMD. AMD is looking pretty nice as well. I really like the fact that it bounced off that 167.02 and we are approaching those highs around 169.04. Really like that as well. Sorry. And so, yeah, really liking that. If I were to get in, I'd really like this break here around 168.69, and then looking at that bus stop level of 169.09 for a little bit of a scalp, you know, seeing what it does there. But AMD looking really nice as well. Definitely didn't, you know, stay short for very long. We had that reversal here at 10 a.m. And I find a lot of the time, I'm going to say this once and I say it again, 10 a.m. is typically a new time, like a new trade setup, I find. I find from 9:30 to 10 is one trade setup. You could break that in, and then 10 a.m. onwards, 10 a.m. to 12 is another, and then 12 to 2, and then 3 to 4 I find is its own, you know, a beast of its own, but definitely looking really good on AMD for the long. Hi, Satya, great call on Dell a couple days ago, inverse HNS. Shout out to you. Micron Technology with a little bit. Look what Micron is doing. Micron, I mean... Oh, sorry. So Micron is, I don't know about Micron right now. We have these higher lows on the day. So if we draw this little bit of a trend line, you know, fighting a little bit with VWAP here around 103.40, gets up there, comes down. We try to retrace back up to VWAP, can't necessarily get up to VWAP, so we come down again. I think that we could see VWAP again on Micron as well, 307, and I would see that as my pivotal level to see what we do from there, but looking pretty bearish on Micron. What else do we have? EVGO is about to flip short. Let's look at EVGO. I know you're talking a little bit of that. What do you think about that, Sean?
Well, Chris, I'd like to hear what Chris has to say. I mean, the case for it, because what I see right now are higher lows and respect for the 10 exponential. But Chris, your point is well taken, Ram, in that we're rejecting 750, and we have been, Chris, since 11:25. So we're going on an hour and 20 minutes of this kind of pattern. But Chris, I mean, I'm not really seeing the selling pressure. In fact, I've got a bid out on this one to defend 720 because it's been defending 720. So let me know what you're seeing, brother, that is causing you to feel that this one is gonna, the winds of change are coming in. We're gonna start selling short. I tried to short this a few times. I was able to scalp, but I was always getting stopped out for the remainder. This is a free for short kind of situation I should say, what's it called? Real trading. Let me just have a look here on my platform to see if it's available for short. That way we can see if it's an easy to borrow. Yeah, this is easy to borrow on my platform as well. And like nary do they even have these, I don't want to say it's a small cap gapper because it's not, but these type of stocks always seem to be in short supply for locates on my platform anyway. So let me know what you're seeing, but personally, what I'm seeing right now is higher highs and higher lows in respect for the 10 exponential. Even the time where you did breach a 10 exponential, you didn't even reach a 20. So here we go again with 750. We know 753 is the high of the day. I've been watching this one all day long. All right, this one is what I'm in right now, PEW, or PEV, excuse me, and it broke through that 108 resistance. It got into about 110, but you know, this one's a hard roll hoe, and like I can actually see the size, huge size here, wattage, not shares, that's showing up on my level 2 at 110. So I'm not very optimistic that my 114 gets filled quick as you like. Maybe we'll have, I'll have to wait a little bit more for that, but we're printing decent right now on PEV. Let's keep an eye out on this one. I want to mention some Mag 7 names because there's some outlying stocks here that are strong. Meta is at a very interesting level because it weaseled into this area crest over here, 587 1/3 to a half to $0.75. Yeah, you get it. There's a wide range. But the point is, we've been interacting with this level a lot today, this 587.75 level. So I think Meta might be an interesting short here, especially if the future gives way. Yeah, the future's at highs, though. I'm not going to take this short. Amazon is also strong. I want to point out some of the stronger names that I see right now. It's excellent look here for NVIDIA. It's been putting in these higher lows and higher highs, so a bit of an upward channel, essentially since that bigger sell-off on NVIDIA to start the day. So maybe a $125 price target right now, which is the high of the day on NVDA, so good look. Tesla as well recovering. Apple, the worst. I would say Apple and Google are by far the worst performing names on the day, chart pattern-wise, okay? Just relative to where they are at VWAP, how they've been interacting, this, that, and the other. Amazon, Meta, and NVIDIA look awfully good with Tesla, you know, there as well, but certainly off the highs, and that 251 rejection was interesting as well. So good look there for these names, Ram. But we got to pay some bills right now, don't we? Yeah, we got to pay some bills. So guys, do you have the animations ready and everything? Fantastic. All right, guys, we want to let you know about Trade the Pool. And yeah, imagine trading with someone else's capital instead of your own. That's what it means to be a funded trader at Trade the Pool. And this is how it works. Complete the evaluation program by meeting your profit targets. Once you succeed, you trade the Pool's capital, which gives you the ability to trade with up to $260,000 in buying power. The best part is that you keep 80% of your profits while the firm takes all the risk. It's the ultimate way to trade, whether you're a beginner or a professional trader. So go on and check out tradethepool.com. I went over their website, as you can see it on your screen, and it looks awfully promising. So scan that QR code or click the link in the description for more information. Shout out to the good folks there at Trade the Pool. Let's have a quick look here what we're doing. All right, we just breached new high of day on EVGO. This thing is a dang rocket ship. So I'm gonna take out my order now at 720 because we're breaching highs. And now I'm not saying we're gonna squeeze here, okay? But I wanna see a clear break and take of that 7.5 because we've been using it as a level of resistance essentially since 11:30. So we're going on almost an hour and a half. And here it goes, continuing to print new highs. EVGO loving that government stimulus money. And a cool Billy came in there yesterday, Satya.
Yes.
That's that money, and they're loving it over there at EVGO, which is actually, you know, kind of anticlimactic. It's in his name because its name is actually EVGO. So I was like, maybe there was something there, but there's nothing. What are you looking at?
Yeah, I was looking at, before you shouted that EVGO, I was also looking at as well because I was looking at it and someone was saying short, Chris was looking short. And I feel like for the short, like it doesn't necessarily look like a short until you break, you know, this kind of consolidation here around 716. So definitely looking strong on EVGO, looking nice there, really strong. EVGO is literally about to flip. I don't know what that really means, but
it's like literally gonna flip like short. I think that's what he means.
Okay, but yeah, I don't think.
Okay, bro.
It looks pretty strong as of right now. I really wouldn't look short, to be honest, because you just, you know, it doesn't have, you know, a point where it looks like it's resisting as of right now. It's just blasting off as of right now. I would like to see, you know, maybe at least 2 or 3 5-minute candles before I really start to look for the short. But it looks really strong. We had this consolidation there. It's a point of support here. And so I wouldn't necessarily look for that show on EVGO. Going long, sound consolidating, sound. Not to Adara.
Shanson International and watch here. This one's halted a couple times today.
I think we
not seeing any news on this. About 6 million shares traded on the day. We are talking here about a market cap of roughly $86 million. We have here a total float of 4.5 million shares. Right now, here around $4. I'm seeing a theoretical auction price of, check this here, $8 right now, previously $7.98. So just some details here on CHSN. Shanson International has run before. A little bit of social media attention, but no news right now, guys.
Thank you very much for that, Adair. Guys, we need to just, you know, say something that obviously, doesn't really require saying, but we got to remind everybody, guys, we're not out to get anybody. We're not trying to disrespect anybody's levels. We're just calling them how we see them. So if our view happens to contradict with yours, don't take it personally. It's just our view. That's it. Okay? I hope everybody, I hope everybody prints up multiple storms regardless, literally. Okay? As long as, it's not against my position or anything. No, I'm kidding, of course, guys. And make sure to smash that like and subscribe button if you ever got anything out of this show. If it added any benefit to your trading, any benefit to your life, the channel would definitely, benefit from you liking, subscribing, and sharing. We appreciate absolutely everybody. I really do mean that. All right, guys, we have a lesson to get to. We're talking about some level 2 today to finish off some of the the level 2 talk that we had. Obviously, we had Joe's lesson as well with options, but let's get to some level 2 mixing in with some technical indicators. So traders, sharpen your tools. Today, we'll learn how to leverage level 2, which is the market depth tool, the heartbeat of the market, or so some people feel. We're going to mix it alongside these technical indicators to help identify, these more high probability setups. So let's get right to it. Unveiling the breakout. Let's talk about here level 2 and volume. So imagine, I'm going to paint a scenario for you here. Imagine a small cap biotech company announces positive clinical trial results. The stock gaps up in the pre-market, as it often does. As you know, these news headlines are dropped usually in the pre. And you're eyeing a potential long position. You open up the level 2. The level 2 analysis, coupled with your volume look, paints a very vivid picture. What are we looking at here for the level 2? You're looking for a concentrated cluster of buy orders that sit, just right below that current ask price, or right below that current bid price. This high volume bid signifies buying pressure. And I want to mention something else, okay? When you are looking at these small cap gappers on the level 2 in the pre-market, underline that, the pre-market, there are some books like the New York book that can't print until 9:30, okay? So you need to get a good look at what orders are possibly sitting there that may influence how it trades after the bell. Volume as well, super important here. So the breakout from the gap, because it's a small cap gapper, so it's typically gapping up. You're looking at the volume that supported that breakout of the gap. Is it accompanied by a heavy surge in volume, or is it kind of light? You're going to ask me, well, how do I gauge light from heavy in this particular instance? Have a look at the volume bars on whatever time frame you're charting, the daily, the 4-hour, whatever. How does it look relative to the prior volume bars that you had there? So simple, a description of that. You're looking for, here's EVGO, okay? We're going to flip to the daily now on EVGO. I would say, Satea, that, these volume bars over here, I don't know how you feel, but these two volume bars seem to be bigger than the other two, or the other ones. They look a little bit bigger. Yeah. So I would say, you know what I mean? So this is supported by higher volume. Clearly, we had over 116 million shares traded yesterday. So I would say the gap up was supported by good volume. It's not always going to be so clear where these two volume bars tower over all the others, but that's what you should be looking for. Above average volume on the breakout, okay? Confirmation with technicals, though, that's kind of what we're trying to get at today. So moving average is one of the ones that I like using. So the stock price, typically what you're looking for there, was it trading above the 50 before the breakout? If it was, you already knew that it had a bullish sentiment relative, maybe to how it had been trading prior to that. But you also need to look at the RSI or any other momentum oscillator that gauges overbought and oversold conditions. The one that I like to use, RSI, Relative Strength Index. The picture I'm painting here is that, we're still below that 70 print, even though we've gapped up on the RSI. So you get that big gap up on volume, you're above the 50, but you're still below 70 on the Relative Strength Indicator. So that, anybody who knows how to use RSI knows that 70 and above, overbought, 30 and below, oversold. It's not so cut and dry, but for our purposes right now it is, okay? So you're looking for, this RSI to sit comfortably below 70, which suggests to you that there is that room for another move up in the price without entering that overbought territory. But oftentimes when we trade these small cap gappers, especially in the pre-market, there's a whole bunch of bamboozlement, fake outs as we call them. So, let's just talk about a different small cap. I'll pitch you a different picture here. So another small cap company announces a new product launch, let's say, okay? The stock jumps at the open, but caution is your middle name. Here's how the level 2 helps identify that fake out. So you open up the level 2. You're looking here at the ask. The ask price sits on a thin layer of bids. So you're not getting that big volume on the left side of the column, which is, again, the buy side, okay? These are buy orders over here. These are all sell orders over here. This is the level 2, right? So this lack of buying pressure might suggest that the price increase isn't backed by strong resistance. What you're looking for is a layer of orders that are sitting there below the current price waiting to get filled. Those help backstop you or backstop the price from declining if it continues to bleed to the sell side. So keep that in mind as well. I just have to load up PEV to see what is up with this one. Yeah, this one's breaking down, so I might get stopped out for the remaining amount here on PEV as it's giving up the ghost at $1, right? But that's not the only thing you're looking at. You're not only just looking at how many bids are moving up or sitting there to wait to be printed. You're looking at the order book dynamics. What does that mean? Suddenly, for example, a sudden sell order appears just above the current price. This could be a whale or an algo testing the waters or a sign of profit taking. So oftentimes you'll see, how the price reacts. They put a big sell order, maybe at a key resistance level, to see how the market reacts to that big sell order that comes in. Is there a wave of selling that comes in as a result of that order, or do we just chug along our merry way and take them out? So one thing to be lookout is big sell orders coming in on the book above the ask. That could prevent you from ascending because it's a bigger order. And then you have to also assume that maybe they're hiding some of that order, okay? So keep that in mind as well. Confirming with technicals, specifically here RSI, the RSI shoots towards the overbought zone above 70 very quickly, indicating to you a potential rapid price reversal. So what you're looking for here, the combination of level 2 signals, a thin offer, right, or a thin bid, a large order placed above the current ask price, and an overbought RSI. We're checking a lot of boxes here for possibly setting up for a fake out breakout. So you need to be on the lookout for that. This can suggest to you, obviously, that the initial jump in the price action might be a short-lived move, and that you might want to consider waiting for that pullback to prove to you that it's going to hold up at that support level ramp. But for experienced traders, I would say, you could definitely do some level 2 analysis. A stagnant order book, for example, with no significant changes despite a steady price increase, this calmness can be certainly deceiving. So you're looking for a continuous stream, essentially, of these smaller buy orders alongside, obviously, a few larger ones for the buy side, okay? And so basically, just to sum off here, this seemingly flat level 2 that sometimes we see on these small cap gappers can be a potential buying opportunity because you're not getting those big sell orders pushing it down. The order flow analysis helps you reveal, though, those hidden institutional buyers potentially foreshadowing what I would say is a strong price move today.
Awesome. So I am looking at Tesla as of right now. It looks like it's holding above. So I'm just going to here. I had it on my side chart, but going to Tesla, load. So I'm looking. Oh, do it, Eric.
After you can finish your thought.
Yeah.
Finish your thought, yeah.
My thought was that I'm looking here around this 247.50 mark, and so I'm looking for a little bit of a dip by there. I may put my stop loss at 47.40s, and so if it blasts through there, then I'm thinking I'm going to get out, but 247.50 is.
We have our afternoon crypto segment every day and during the midday around 1 p.m. because we look more exclusively at Bitcoin during the crypto segment in the morning. I like to look at a different type of currency or coin, and I actually found Shiba Inu really interesting today. This one is up more than 10% right now today, and apparently it has gained a pretty decent amount here. Their market cap right now apparently up from 9.31 billion yesterday to 10.31 billion. So gaining $1 billion in market cap in 24 hours for Shiba Inu, SHIB. Great look here. I have this chart here against the US dollar, a bit of a double top resistance area with a slightly higher high. So you can kind of see here on this daily chart, also some interesting resistance support at this level here that we've kind of identified. Bit of a rounded bottom. I think this chart a couple days ago we showed as well, but still looks pretty bullish here on that SHIB. Also some interesting support resistance interactions with this level we bounced off of today, this bullish engulfing candle, and the level we wicked into and rejected Saturday, August 24th. So good look here for SHIB. Not the only crypto name to the upside though. BTC and Ethereum were a bit more stagnant earlier today. Now we've got Ethereum up 5%, well above that 2,400 level. And Bitcoin, which was actually below 61 last time we looked, now near 62,250. So great look here. Solana still strong here, 7% to the upside. Dogecoin 6.5%. Avalanche not far behind Shiba Inu here, up about 9%. So great look here for a lot of these crypto names. Can't wait to see what the rest of this crypto and this market does today because it's been an exciting day. And make sure to vote for your tickers of choice, !join, space $, and that ticker, guys.
Awesome. So I am looking to get my entry level here on Tesla at 247.50. So I'm going to put that in as of right now, 247.50. And then I'm going to give it a little bit of room. I want to get triggered, so 247.45, and hopefully getting triggered between that as well. And then I'm going to put my stop loss here at 247.40, and then give it a little room, 247.38. So giving it that 2 cents of a risk there. And so hopefully we get triggered there. I'm going to wait for the dip high. I was waiting. I was trying to think like, should I get in at this 248.87 at market price? But I think that I want to wait for the dip high and give myself a little bit of room there. But it is blasting off a little bit from VWAP. I really like the look of that. Looking pretty decent. And then my bus stop level is that $250 level. And then so let's move back on to sound. Someone mentioned sound in the chat. And so the look of sound, I don't really like this, isn't really breaking above VWAP. It's just at this VWAP level, not doing too much, kind of just consolidating at VWAP. So not looking too great there on sound. And then going to Microsoft, Microsoft looked pretty nice. It hit around 419.05, and then it's coming back down at this VWAP level. And so I want to see what it does around here. And so if it bounces from here, I may look for the long at 417.40, but I want to see what it does there and then look to do what we do from there. And then so someone's saying shorting more Tesla. I mean, I don't know. It's still at that kind of mid-range level, so I'm not too sure as of right now what to do with Tesla. I want to see it get to that 247.50 mark and hopefully go for that long. So what else are we looking at? NVDA.
Haven't heard of it.
I was actually looking at that as well, and I was looking at this 124.40 level to risk off of, just because we haven't really blasted through that. And so if I look on my minute chart, okay, so the highs here were 125. And then we are at around 124.50 for this local high. And so, yeah, I think that this may be a nice level to risk off of. So I think I'm going to throw out an order as well for that, 124.50 as my stop loss, and then waiting for a retracement to VWAP around 123.74. So I'm going to put that in. What are you looking at, Sheree?
I just took a nice little trade here on EVGO. Look, so we were talking about that 20 penny level, Ram, that was being defended earlier. And now we moved up because we broke 50 on a closing basis. So now, funny enough, support, or previous resistance, I should say, acts as support. So we got into 760, weaseled down into 750. I took 750 long, wet my beak. This one continuing to print higher highs, 21% and a half now almost for EVGO. Add to that whatever the hell it added yesterday. Good look for this name. I'll look to set up again at 750. Okay, so this one is the gift that keeps on giving on the day. EVGO, loving that stimmy money, baby. That money came in hot yesterday. $1 billion and change going to help them set up. Obviously, in case you're wondering what this company does, they're kind of like a supercharger, Tesla supercharger competitor. They're a charging station, kind of like ChargePoint, Blink charging. They've been on my watch list for like 3 or 4 years. I've had notice of them. They're not the same as Go EV. EV Go and Go EV are not the same. One is an EV company and one is a charging company. So just keep that in mind in case that confusion comes back. So this is what I'm looking at, 750. I like that look. Let's bring in the side charts over here and talk a little bit about what the future is doing. I want to mention the level that Adair just talked about right now. She says 249.10 on watch for me, possible head and shoulders, hands off today, just watching the book and learning a ton. Have a look at what she's talking about here. We got this bulbous head, and then we got a couple of, skewed shoulders. Guys got to hit the gym, bruh. And then we could definitely keep an eye out for rejections, I would say at 250. Because if say again, Katina, man? Come on, bro. That 250 level, we know we zigged and zagged with that 250 level. It's the $10 level, the $50 level, yada, yada. And if we get in there and we reject, it could definitely be, an interesting look there for a possible head and shoulders pattern on TSLA. Strong, though, 3.5% in the green is Tesla. This thing moves like 2-3% like at a whim, man. It's unreal. Meta as well, looking real good here. Putting in, a nice little pattern with these higher lows. What I want to see is, does it come in maybe into that 586, I should say, 50 and hold up? Right now, it's been awfully respectful of the 10 moving average for the last, I want to say, how long now? Almost half an hour or so. So we'll keep an eye on META. Good look there. I should mention that you're getting a bit of a retracement on Microsoft and Amazon, both making new area crests over here on Softy and over here on Amazon. They're both retracing to what could be a VWAP retracement. It looks like 417 and a third for Microsoft, and we are at VWAP, it looks like right now, for Amazon. So we're right there at this 185 and a half, 185.40. Let's see if the Zon wants to find its footing there. We also have not just VWAP RAM at that level, but we have this price action crest over here at 185 and a third. So I kind of like the long on Amazon here, but I need to see a green candle print on a closing basis to get me involved. I don't need to be first, but this is now a 5-candle, 5-minute pattern that are all red. However, still at or holding the volume weighted average price with these higher lows that have been in play, essentially for the better part now of an hour and a half, almost an hour and 40 minutes. Looks like we found our area trough there at 11:30 on AMZN. So this could be an interesting long if it wants to curl. Same thing with Microsoft. Tesla's on the way up, as I mentioned. Apple's absolutely dead. I've got no interest in even looking at that. And that is the look there. What else we got in small cap world? I know. I'm sorry, Ram. I apologize. But yeah. So Donald John Trump found, I believe, its footing at VWAP. It did. So 6 1/3 on DJT, or 1630. Excuse me, not 6 1/3. 1630. This is a trade that I missed. This is an obvious trade. We have an area crest there at 1030 that we couldn't break through until the second attempt. And then it also coincided, conflated, or as Obi likes to say, confluenced with 1630 right there. So you had VWAP and you had that area top, and then DJT definitely found its footing on the way back above the 10 and the 20. Maybe it gets to 1650, maybe it doesn't, but it would have been a nice 13 pen. You could have sized into this one because it's doing some shares. We have a halter. CHSN did not have eyes on this one. Who are we going to take off here today? Because we only got 8 charts. So we're going to have to take off somebody. Clove, you're gone, bruh.
Clove.
CHSN. We're going to put CHSN. This one, guys, is halted. Give it a minute to load. $6.60 halted. There it is. It's a second halt from what I can see. And the first one, what the hell? Is this a 1 minute, bruh? Okay, so this is ridiculous. All right, I'm not trading this. Last time around, this was a halt from 11:53 to 12:43. Which one are you talking about? CHSN?
I was telling Adam over here that some of those halters are very hard to hold.
Oh, absolutely. Especially when they're halted for an hour, Katina, man. It doesn't usually help. I know, right? Yeah, but this one, CHSN, guys, this halted initially 11:43. We had the halt till 11:53, so a 10-minute halt there. Then look at this one, 11:53, we halt up again. We don't open till 12:43, so 50 minutes. And now we've been halted at 6:60 since 12:43, so almost half an hour now. Halted at 6:60. What's going on here? Let me find out. It's printed decent shares, guys, 6.25 million. This is apparently a circuit breaker. Usually we don't have these halts lasting for more than 10, 15, 20 minutes on a circuit breaker. This is not news. This is not pending news. So I don't really know what to make of this. Definitely staying away from it, obviously, because it's not trading. Let's see what else. Anything new coming in here in the small cap gapper world? No, it doesn't look like there is. So we're gonna steer clear of this one and possibly look at something else. What's your look over there, Stea? What are you doing?
Yeah, for sure. So I was in NVIDIA short around this 123 or 124.23 mark, and so I got out on the next candle just because I feel like there is like a little bit of an uptrend here on the shorter time frame, and so I didn't like that little bounce there, so I took my profits, 10 cents, my little 10-cent scalp. So usually, like a lot of the time, like when I'm off the show, I'm in and out within a scalp within like a minute or 2 minutes. So it's a little bit harder to do on the show. So, but usually I'm in and out, and that's how I like to trade. On the show a little bit, I like to hold it for a little bit longer just because we have to, multitask a little bit, But I did that little scalp, and that's what I was looking at. And so Tesla does not look like it's going to fill me, to be honest. It's at 249.14 right now. Ugh. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's going to fill me, to be honest, but that's okay. That was the level that I really liked. I really liked this 247.50 mark. And so you could get in, but it's just not within my risk parameters to get in up here, just because, Tesla, it could move like 80 cents, $1, and so I don't want that smoke. I just want to get in at my 247.50, and so if I have to wait for it, I'm going to wait. And so that's what I'm going to do as of right now. Something that I was looking at, someone's saying AMD. AMDs. People are looking at the AMD. AMD is looking really nice. Yes, AMD is holding not right at the highs, but around this 168.88 level. I really like that as well. Blasting off to the upside. Really like that. Really like that a lot. 169. Yeah. And so my bus stop level. Let's look at that bus stop level. Yes, because we want to know where it might stop. And so, where are we gonna stop? Where are we gonna stop?
Adam, look at this guy. He has no idea he's on. Hey, what's up, man?
And so, yeah, looking at that bus stop level, I mean, there isn't one locally as of right now that I can see. July 16th, that's pretty far out, but on the day.
Far out.
Yeah, on the day.
Bus to the Alamo.
I want to see what it does at that 170 level, but I definitely think I don't really have a read on where it may stop, but this looks like a nice swing trade. Like if you're looking for the swing, this looks like a really nice setup. It's breaking through this Friday, September 27th high. And so I really like that as well. But I don't necessarily, there is no like local bus stop level because we blasted through those bus stop levels. And so I'm looking at 170, 172. Those are the two take profit levels that I would be looking at as well. And then Microsoft. Microsoft is looking pretty decent. Doing a little bit of a bounce, a little bit of a curl off of VWAP. Definitely would like to see what it does from there. As long as we can hold around this 418.25, I'd really like that for the long as well. Rivian just breaking below the 50. Rivian. Yeah, with Rivian, I would like to see what it does around this consolidation here, because it looks like it's on the breakdown. And so a level that I would be looking at for the breakdown to possibly take profits is $10.08. But we want to see what it does here because it could break down from this level or it could bounce. But I definitely want to see what it does at that 1030 level. What are you looking at, Sharif?
I just took the trade on Amazon. Shout out to Elon. Thank you, Elon, for bringing it to my attention, my man. I called it out, but I didn't put a notification. You brought it to my attention. The second you did, I punched in long. We took 20 pennies, quick as you like, on AMZN. We were waxing poetic, or to use an Adairaism, about that level because it weaseled its way down to VWAP, and it's been awfully respectful, holding the higher high, higher low pattern that's been in play, quite frankly, since, I mean, you can call it from the area crest over here at 11:30. So we're going on 2 hours of consistently higher highs and higher lows, holding the channel. Obviously, we've had healthy pullbacks. So I got in at 55. Shout out to Elon. Thank you again for bringing that to my attention. It's tough to do sometimes, man, when we have these levels and I have to jump to something else. I forget to put in a notification. That's why you guys are so amazing in the chat. We couldn't be more thankful to you. Holy, there's a whole production going on over here. Okay, Ram, get it. Fabian, you don't have to get Ram in the shot or anything like that. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't be doing that, Fabian. Yeah, shut up. Oh, man, it's so good. Poor Satea. She's like, yo, bro, you're too close, man. You're too close. Yeah, Glenn Smith, play on terms. No, because Neil knows what I'm talking about, because that's from Dylon, right? Anybody who watches Chappelle's show knows exactly what I'm talking about. You're being too close. But obviously, that's not the case over here. Glenn Smith, it's a play on terms because he was saying bust to the Alamo. I got it, man. I was just reading it out loud. You heard me read it live there. What else we got? Diego saying AMD. AMD's a dang rocket ship, my man. It's up 4%. How do we trade this, Adam? You want to give the people an entry or what? Because it's a rocket ship. So let's bring it in AMD over here. Show Adam what AMD 5-minute. No, that's not it. One sec. I'm just switching to it right now. Here's the 5-minute on AMD, Adam. Oh, wow. If you had to get in here, what's the situation? Are you waiting for a top defend?
Yeah, around that, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, 168.50 generally. You'd like a top defend. Okay, 169-ish?
Yeah, well, 168.
168.75?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. You heard it from the man himself. Adam DeLuce, 168.75, decent level. I happen to agree with you because that's like a flat top break, right? And then we have Ram. You need a pullback, right?
A little bit of a pullback, just to that 170, like 168.70.
You need a little bit of a pullback into that 168.75, 168 to get a better price entry. Happen to agree completely. I would not want to punch in at highs, especially knocking the door of 170. What if it doesn't give you a pullback, Adam? Do you leave the trade? Do you not get into the trade?
Yeah, don't get into the trade.
You don't get into the trade. No. Simple as that.
You got to get a risk reward.
There you go. You heard it from the OG himself. Anybody who knows, who's been watching the show, knows this guy's been in the chat for a hot minute. Shout out to Adam DeLuce, man. Could not be more happy that we actually have him live and living color in the studio. I've been talking to this guy for like well over 2.5 years now because he happened to be an Arsenal fan. That's how it all works out, right? There has to be kind of that mutual interest at times there. So shout out to Adam. John Del Segno, shout out to the chat. NU down from 13, from its high of 15.15, and it's right at that TL support on the daily. I'm buying for the long term here. Shout out to John Del Segno, another OG in the chat, always participating, always positive, always constructive. Hint. Shout out to John Del Segno. Anything you're looking at?
Yes, so people are saying a SPY in the chat, and I really like this. It broke above this kind of slope here. We're above VWAP, really liking that. I want to get as close to VWAP as possible because I don't want to get in, right here because I feel like it can retrace down a little bit. You want to make sure, as Adam said, the risk to reward makes sense. And so my playbook trade is near VWAP, so I'm going to look to get that dip by around 570.65. So that is what I'm looking at. So I'm going to put in that real quick. So do that quickly. 570, 65, and then 570, 60, and I'm looking for that dip trade there. So hopefully we get filled there. Not gonna punch in as of right now. Looks really good, but I want to see a little bit of a pullback there. And then so someone else was saying a meta in the chat. So let us weasel on down to a meta. And
I love how you're using that. It's a weasel on down. Uh-oh, Fabian's here.
Oh.
That's not a good sign.
Oh no. Okay. All right, sounds good. All right, so we are looking at Meta. So we're looking like we are blasting through those highs here around this 588.78. And so I really like that. Typically, I find this is a good confirmation level for me as well. And so that is what I am looking at right now. But we want to make sure that we don't get liquidity grabbed from that high. And so I want to see a little bit of a consolidation there, and then hopefully looking to get above that level. So that is looking pretty good on Tesla. A risk level that I'd be looking at is, okay, that's not too crazy. The candles make it look further than it is, but 586.89 is a level that I would like to risk off of. Why? Why am I looking at that level? Just because we have that consolidation here. And so I really like that. And I find that if we can get below this consolidation level, then I don't think it's the trade that I think it is, but I think that consolidation level is a nice level to risk off of, just because it's only about $2.50 away from the level that I want to get in at, and also too, if we just break that level, I don't think that this is looking good for the long. So I'm also going to put in my entry level here. I'm gonna put it around 588.97. Hopefully I get filled before that 589, and so I'm going to put my entry level there. So I'm going to put it here. 589. What was that level? Okay, 588.97.
Oh, yeah, no, it's just, you never know.
And then that 589, and so hopefully as it goes up, I catch that long there, and then I'm going to put my stop loss here below this level, so 586.49
I just found them on my face.
586.45. So that is what I'm going to do right now. So put that there, 586.49.
Oh, wow.
So that I don't get stop loss out, and so avoiding that 50, because I find with those like psychological levels, they typically go there, but I don't want to kind of get faked out there. So I'm going to do 586.
You want me to take over while you set up?
Yeah,
That, for sure. All right, guys, I'm setting up here a dip trade on TIGR. As you see, it's breaking out there. Here it goes. It's squeezing through the fifth of a dollar. There's some size here at 102. I'm just looking to see. This is not going to halt. No. So I've set up a dip trade. I'm looking at an 1102 dip. This one broke 11 quite aggressively. And the reason I'm setting up for an 1102 dip and hold is because we whiffled and waffled at 11 for a hot minute. And so I'm under the impression, I'm of the bias at the moment that we have former area of resistance at 11. Now I'm looking for it to come in as support. That's my bias right now. So I've set up to front run a little bit, but this one may not come back. We'll see. We'll see if it comes back or not. Here are the details, guys. Tiger is not a small cap gapper. It has been on my DeFi fintech watch list for a hot minute. 1.77 billion market cap. It's traded at a light 51 1/3 million shares traded on the day. The float is, I don't know, 97 million, depending here about what stat you're listening to. Let's bring in trade ideas. Shout out to Nos Boss and his crew there. TIGR. I remember I did this yesterday, but I just have a horrible short-term memory. 3% or thereabouts, a little bit less than 3% is shorted, so it's not going to become parabolic. But I'm looking for it. I'm looking for it there. If it wants to come back into that level 1102, I'm all eyes and ears. It's going to find a receptive buyer in me at 1102, but it's at 1124 right now. It's not the only one moving, though, Satea. UXIN just reclaimed VWAP. This was interesting because I kind of wrote this one off a little bit. You know how I feel about trading these small cap gappers south of the volume weighted average price. They don't usually recover in this way, and if they do, they're the exception, not the rule. V-shaped recovery, and now we're knocking the door of 660, Ram. I mean, what do I do here? So what I'm going to wait to see is if we give up VWAP like in a 3 or 4 candle pattern. That may mean that I lose some, that I don't get the best price. So it's breaking through highs. There seems to be a bid right now. It's found its footing at 590 or thereabouts, and now it's moving up quite aggressively to the high side. It's had a red candle every now and again in that move up, but good look right now on UXI, and definitely nothing wrong with this one. Donald John Trump is breaking down below VWAP. We were talking about VWAP, Ram, being an interesting area for Donald John Trump. Ram. 1630, it didn't hold that level at all, despite the fact that it had been interacting with that level for a while, and it was VWAP. Now it's on the way down to 16.25. If it's not going to set up in the technical way, then I'm not trading DJT. It doesn't have a catalyst, right? Except that guy leaving, and we already knew about that. Remember you mentioned that earlier.
Which one?
The CEO.
Oh,
Wasn't
yes,
it the
yes,
CEO?
yes.
It was the CEO,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. I know Dara brought that to us as well. Guys, I got stopped out of the remaining amount of PEV. I had like baby shares left once it broke down. Here it is, though. It may be setting up again. So I know I was yapping about that $1 trade being a distinctly different trade. Shout out to the Obe. He is the one, Kanob. There is a level here at 90 that I may like because it's VWAP. And we haven't had a VWAP retracement since, 11:30. So we've been going on for 2 hours without having glanced at VWAP. So if it wants to make its way down to VWAP, I can certainly be entertained into getting long there. Look at Tiger go, though, bro. It's not even looking my way. It's not even looking at. Yeah, I don't think it's coming back to 11:20. If it does, I'm just gonna I'm just gonna leave my order out there to see exactly if I can get printed. X-Dami, is that the new Meta goggles? Yes, of course. Trenda has been wearing them for a hot minute because Trenda is the most...
Oh, that's her name, Trenda?
Ram said she got them for me. She got them for me so that I can trade Google with it.
Yes. Gotta
Right?
have those spectacles on.
I don't believe her, but we'll play
It
along.
works, though.
Yeah, I didn't trade Google today, but maybe it might actually work.
Yeah.
We're gonna have
Next
to...
time, when you're trading Google, put those on. And
right
let's see.
away.
Yes.
I shouldn't even have to think.
Yes.
All right, here we go. I don't know why I didn't do that before. She doesn't know why I didn't do that before, it says Ram. All right, guys, TIGR just dipped in a little bit here, and it may not give me more than this. It dipped into 1105s, and now it's bouncing back up. I was sitting at 1102. It's not coming in to my level, and that's okay. I'm not gonna change it. I know, I love how you guys are getting a kick out of this. I'm here to please, baby. I don't take myself too seriously, right? You can't, otherwise, feelings get hurt. So he's got his eyes on 2 charts. No, we're having a good time, guys. I hope everybody's having a great Friday. Hold on. Let's slow things down. We have half an hour left on the show. So we know it's your birthday yesterday.
Yes. Yeah.
So everybody, if you haven't already, get into the chat. Wish Satea a happy belated, but we're going to have to pry a little bit.
Okay.
We want to know, and by we, I mean me, what are the plans for the weekend?
Yes.
You don't have to give details because,
Yeah, I don't want someone following me and ending up at the places where I'm at. But I'm thinking about a nice sushi date with my friend. So we're gonna go out to that today. And then I'm thinking about funnel cake. Okay, a funnel cake has been on my mind. I don't really want a traditional cake this year. Funnel cake is what I am looking at, and so that is what I think I'm gonna get into this weekend.
I love it. What'd you say, Fabian? Uncle Tetsu.
They have funnel cake?
Okay.
Okay, and I want funnel cake.
Oh, he says cheesecake.
Cheesecake?
Yeah.
I'm not a cheesecake type of person, to be
Do you ever get the funnel cakes at Wonderland?
Yes.
Those are hot
Yes,
fire.
yes. And the thing is, I don't like to share.
You don't like to share?
No, everyone knows that
Well
if
said,
I
well
am
said.
getting it at Wonderland, I have to get my own. I know my mom is like, oh, it's big enough, we can share. I'm like, get your paws off of my damn funnel cake. It's mine, and so, yeah, I could eat it. I know have small body, but I could chow down.
I know.
Yeah.
Ram wants me to tell you that she's going to personally give you her list.
Okay.
She's curated a very, very exclusive list of the best funnel cakes, I'm assuming.
Okay.
And she wants to share that with you in light of
Okay.
the fact that it's your birthday.
Yes, I will ask her about that list because I am a funnel cake connoisseur, okay?
All right,
And so I'm really, really selective about where I get that from.
We'll hear more about Satea's birthday plans when we get back from Midday.
We're going to take a look here at the US dollar. we do that, I want to take a look at the weekly chart today because I have this Bloomberg chart up here showing that we actually have the DXY, or in this case, we have the Bloomberg dollar gauge showing its best week in 2 years. So lots of strength here. This is, I guess, the BBDXY. Generally, though, I'll show you guys the DXY weekly chart in a minute. Still very strong. We, of course, had that much stronger than expected non-farm payrolls this morning, spicing things up here in the market. We know that the Black Monday on August 5th came the Monday after a lower than expected non-farm payroll number. But we have today's non-farm payroll coming in 254,000 jobs, well above the estimate of 200 or 150,000 jobs. That's 104,000 here for that non-farm payrolls above expected. So higher than expected payrolls print, sending both the BBDXY to the upside and the DXY. Look at this weekly chart here. This is a bullish engulfing candle taking up the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks of action here. So what a candle for the DXY. Worth noting as well, too, we actually had comments from former U.S. Secretary of the Treasury, Larry Summers, saying that the Fed clearly made a, quote, mistake with their 50 basis point cut as evidenced by what we had going on here with that jobs report. So basically, Larry Summers saying the fact that NFPs were as strong as they were is proof of a mistake by the Fed to cut rates by a somewhat surprising 50 basis points during their September meeting. Watch out for that November meeting. And it's worth noting here, too, we have traders and the B of A and analysts alike saying that it's actually more likely to have a 25 basis point cut than 50 basis point cut at the next meeting, with some traders even pricing that cut to be a little bit less. Lots of excitement to look at in the economy, specifically when you look at that big DXY rally, guys.
Thank you very much, Adair. That kind of caught my attention, the fact that he called it a mistake. Usually these guys, you know, they don't like to second guess their successors. So, all right. I guess that's not a thing anymore. TIGR, I punched in. I punched in at highs. I didn't get my fill at 11. I'm in the money. I'm in the money almost 15 pennies. This thing is a dang rocket ship. It's just printed another high of the day, 11:30 right now. It's up 23%. This is not new. It was running yesterday, and it's squeezing a little bit here, guys. It's a shorter. It's not a big short float. So, you know, the squeeze is likely to be, wow, look at this, bro. Here comes 35s. Can we get a little bit higher over here? I'm so upset that I didn't get my dip. I had so many opportunities at 8s and 7s, but I was so frugal waiting for 02s to come in. This is a really good look right now. TIGR, there it is. There's 35s. That's where I'm taking it out. Again, the reason I'm taking it out here because I have this informal use that I use. I'll get it right. I have an informal way that I use the 10 exponential with these small cap gappers. Once we get a little extended too far away from the 10 exponential on the 5-minute chart, I tend to, you know, look for a bit of a mean reversion. Here it comes a little bit, possibly into the $0.25. I'm going to move up my dip trade entry on TIGR. From 11.02s, I'm going to weasel it up to 11.10s to kind of shadow the 10 exponential moving average on the 5-minute chart. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it right now. We're going to hit escape. We're going to take it out there, and we're going to sit at, let's go ahead and sit at 11s, because what is life without whimsy? We'll see if we can get a fill in and around there. Zach Bobek said, I think AMD curling southbound. Let's have a look at AMD, because Adam was giving us a really good idea about how to weasel our way into AMD if it worked its way back down. Let's see how it did. No, not quite yet, but shout out to you. Thank you for calling that curl back down. I want to see 169, 168.75. If it dips in and around there, that'll be interesting. You have the whole dollar level. In this case, it'll have to be a deeper retracement, because look where the 10 exponential is at 169.50. So you're going to have a, by definition, a deeper retracement into somewhere in between the 10 and the 20, if not at the 20, into 169, 168.75. Here it comes a little bit, breaking through 170. So it's, yeah, here we go, 169.78. Looks like we printed 35s at the high. You have a couple of topping till candles, but we're still above the 10. So, I mean, let's not call this one southbound move yet, but AMD, certainly a good look here on watch. Aku the Explorer. Gosh, finally AMD. I guess Aku was trying to take this bad boy short. Or Aku, are you looking at dip trading it like me? Let me know. Tag me in the chat. Let me know what you're thinking. And this gives me the opportunity, of course, to remind you guys that the afternoon segment, which is the rundown, the afternoon rundown, is nothing without user input, guys. We would love for you guys to get into the chat right now. !, join, space, $, and the ticker of your choice. The big kahunas are going to be locked and loaded and ready to look at the tickers as decided by you. So let me give you an example. Neil just got into the chat right now, said MU super weak. Do you guys want Micron on the rundown? You're going to have to vote for it. Persuade your friends to vote your way as well. Uncle Ron just voted for Tesla. Bears versus Bulls just voted for SPY. Northwestern Canopy wants to talk about Palantir and App. Vote for it. Palantir makes it on almost every day. So vote for it. Maybe it'll be on today. Rory Alderson, NVIDIA EOD runner. Get into the chat, Rory. Vote for NVDA. Chris J saying BTC is tanking. I don't think you're going to like that. Get into the chat, Chris J. Vote for BTC. BTC makes it on. I'll put it, but usually a derivative is what makes it on, like a Amara or an MSTR or something like that. So guys, get into the chat right now. Vote for your favorite tickers every day between 11 a.m. and 1:50. So you have almost 12 minutes left before we cut off. But I do believe we have Adara at the big desk. Let me know if this is a good speed, Ram.
We have some movement here with volume to the downside for both the TQs, or I have the Qs up here, the NASDAQ and the S&P 500, the SPY, getting some volume to the downside. From what I can tell, it looks like it has to do with some updates we have coming out of the Middle East right now. We do have the government of Lebanon making a statement basically saying that their death toll has surpassed 2,000, the number 2,000 in the last year. We also have some media reporting some airstrikes here in a province. This is, again, coming from the Houthis. So interesting note here coming out of the Middle East. Again, apparently death toll of over 2,000 coming out of Lebanon. And then also some reports of new airstrikes. I will keep you guys posted. Not sure if that is what's moving the market down, but that's all I can see as we get that move to the downside with volume, guys.
Yeah, and you're definitely seeing the price action reflect that because all the Mag 7 just took a bit of a downturn.
Yes. I was looking at Meta, and I'm so glad that I didn't hold that. So what I was looking at here is I got in at 589, was really convicted in that trade. I was confident, very confident in that trade, got out at 589.77, took those profits there, and I didn't like what I was seeing because it was at the top of that range, and so I took profits there. By accident, I went for a short. I had a little bit of a mess up with my keys, didn't mean to go for that short, but took 80 pennies on, or 78 pennies on that, and so I'm really, really happy with that. I was going to hold it down to around this 586.60 mark, but I thought that's a lot of room to give it, to be honest, especially because we are approaching those highs. And so I got out before that, and so that is what I am looking at. And so someone is saying, same on SPY, I killed on SPY puts. Jeez. So let's look at SPY. What is that doing here? Yeah, with SPY, see, I thought that there was going to be a higher breakout there, possibly, to that day's high, but it looks like we are coming down through VWAP again. And so levels that are pretty interesting to me that stand out is this 569.50. And so that is really interesting. But I want to see what it does around that level here. Join Tesla. Oh, okay, sorry. No.
Yeah, they're just voting. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they're voting. Okay. And then, so yeah, that I'm really, really proud of that Meta trade. I'm really glad that I got in for that scalp because usually that is how I trade. I get in really quickly, in and out, in and out. I typically don't hold. That's not me. And so I need to remember that with my trades, really stick to that. And so I was really happy with that there. And so we want to see what is the next trade. I want to know what is the next trade because we want to leave with some money, and so that is what I'm looking at. But let's see here. Let's look at QQQs. QQQs I typically like to trade. Let's see what you are doing here. Kind of similar to the SPY, kind of at that VWAP, kind of chopping and churning around that VWAP level. So I don't see anything too distinct here. But that is what I'm looking at. What about Tesla? Because Tesla was doing something. Are we at that 250? Still didn't get my dip buy on Tesla, sadly. But yeah, we're working our way up to that $250 mark. We're right now at 249.12, and I definitely think it could go, you know, maybe not right at 250, but maybe 249.60, 249.70, 80, and see what we do from there. But that is what I am looking at. How about you, Sharif?
I'm looking at AMD now because what it did was it dipped down into the 10 exponential and it put in a bit of a hammer candle. And this is what I'm looking at the 5. I'm charting on the 5, obviously. So here it is. The weakness into 170 and a third holds up right at that 10 exponential. It didn't really, work its way down to the top wick over here that I was basing it on. This candle from 945, let's call that the IB high, the implied balance high, sitting at generally 169. But this thing found its footing at exactly a third of a dollar, but look where it closed at $0.75. And then a green subsequent candle. However, it has a higher low, but not a newer high. So let's wait. Let's see if we can curl it. Here we go. We're about to break through 170 again. Could this be the entry? I mean, what is this thing running up on anyway? Is there a reason AMD's running? I don't see anything. Not from till 10. Like the last time I saw anything AMD related. Not even today, actually. Yeah, there's not that I see on it, guys. So there is that new high. So now a new 5-minute candle to make a new high. It looks like it's curling up at the fifth of a dollar. Recall, the high of the day, a third of a dollar. So we're 15 pennies away now from that high. AMD's been very directional. So I really don't know why it's running, but it's obviously outperforming all the other chips. And I'm looking right now on my chips watch list. It is the best performing microchip semi on my watch list. Who's second? Marvell, 2.13. And then the monster NVIDIA at 1.28. So AMD's running, and Meta just printed another all-time high. Wow, 1 1/3, 590 break here on META, another all-time high. If you didn't know, now you know. Zuck overtook Bezos as the second richest person in the dang world. $72 billion has been added to his net worth year to date. Some chump change right there, man. Like some people are not going to see a 0.00001 of that money their entire life. And this guy is getting it in 1 year. There we go, 590.42, high of the day, all-time highs, META, breaking through that whole dollar. I mean, we were talking about 600 last week, and I said maybe we could see it by the end of the year. The Katina man laughed. We'll see it by the end of the week. Maybe we'll see it by the end of next week. So META, a rocket ship, again, 1 1/3 in the green, again, only outperformed by TSLA and Amazon. But I would submit to you that the chart pattern right now on Meta far more bullish than AMZN, despite the fact that Amazon's up a skosh more on the day. So we're getting a nice pump back here in the fuge and in the overall Mag 7. As you can see, green candles all around. That is, of course, unless you're Amazon, the only one not really printing green. Likewise with NVIDIA, a bit dead there, but the fuge getting a nice pump. Same with goggles and Tesla breaking through local highs. Apple trying to work its way back into the volume weighted average price. And look at that, nice defend there by Microsoft at VWAP. So nice little pump up there in the market and in these Mag 7 names. Let's have a look at what AMD is doing. Let's see if I got triggered at my entry. I think I took it off on that Tiger. Yeah, not that kind of triggered, Ram. But I was like order triggered. Yeah, this thing is not coming down. I mean, it's putting in higher highs and higher lows. I'm talking about TIGR. I've been looking to defend 11. This trade may come in later to 11, but it's about 15 minutes left on the show right now. So, yeah. What are you guys looking at? Crap stock. I love your name. Sharif, they swap positions every week. There's these billionaires. Yeah, you're not wrong, brother. You're not wrong. But I don't think Zuck's ever been up number 2. Maybe he has, and I just didn't know about it. But yeah, look, man, new Zuck is a different Zuck. Okay? Yeah, new Zuck's a different Zuck, man. And I was watching a little. I don't want to call it a hit piece. It wasn't a hit piece. It was a comparator. Innovators versus managers. The face of the innovators, they had a Zuck. The face of the the manager, they had a Timmy C. Because we know that he's not a founder. So what do you guys like better? Do you guys like innovators and these founders who come to market with new products that may or may not do well? Or do you like these managers who come in, streamline the company, shore up the balance sheets, get everything ready? I think that there's room for both. How about you? What do you think about that?
What was the question?
about managers and founders. So like a guy like Zuck coming out with these VR glasses, you know, he's obviously an innovator. He created Facebook, you know, he acquired a couple companies on the side, obviously WhatsApp, Instagram, blah, blah, blah. But he's an innovator by heart. Whereas Tim Cook, you know, he kind of inherited, I don't want to say inherited, but he took it from Steve Jobs, who was the original innovator. They look at Timmy C as more of a manager. He manages a company, makes sure everything's on the up and up, not bleeding too much money, you know, but lacks that innovation.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I definitely see the discrepancy between like Apple and Meta. I definitely, since Steve Jobs had died, definitely like it's more so, I was talking to my friends about this actually, like with the new iPhone, it's more so just like an updated camera, you know, higher speeds, like it's nothing truly innovative. I feel like they kind of stole like the VR from Meta, because didn't the Meta VR come out first?
100%.
Yeah.
And it'd been out for a while too. It happened just a little bit.
Exactly. And so I feel like Apple, they just kind of piggyback on what other innovators are doing, and they're like, okay, we're going to take it as our own and make it better, but I don't think it's necessarily better, to be honest. I think they kind of just improve on it a little bit, but Meta, I mean, Apple, you really need to come out with something crazy, something revolutionary, something life-changing, because nothing that they have come out with is something new that other companies haven't, you know, come out with already.
I have to agree with that.
Yeah.
And like we always kind of joke around on the desk and say, you know, Apple's never first, but they seem to somehow perfect the technology. Like, what do you? I see an iPhone there.
It is an iPhone.
It's an iPhone.
Yeah, it is an iPhone. Yeah.
All right. Where are the AirPods at?
The AirPods, I actually lost it.
Okay.
I lost one. Yeah, I did. I had two, and then I lost one, and then I was like, am I really gonna spend $100 on one AirPod?
Yeah, no.
I might as well buy, you know, a whole new set of headphones, to be honest. Yeah.
Fair.
But I do like the UX design on, you know, Apple. But that's the only thing about it. I mean, they have nothing truly innovative, to be honest.
They just perfect. They execute. I feel that they're good at executing. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. And that's the thing. And I was even debating, because my phone has been slowing down. I have the iPhone 12, and I know that when the new phone comes out, then typically they slow down the other ones. But I'm like, what is the point of me even getting the iPhone 16? Because there's not anything crazy, like, you know, I don't know. I can't justify buying a new phone, to be honest.
Fair.
Yeah.
Okay. Eugene, this is relevant stuff, and you know, if you're not happy, you can hit the mute button. So we're gonna keep going on over here. Meta making new highs, still 591.02. Tiger also making new highs, 1180. What a rocket ship this has been, man. I put my dip trade still there at 1111, and it's not going to come anywhere near there, man. This is so strong. Here we go, but coming down a little bit now off that 1180. Now the question for me is, now I know we zigged and zagged at this 1140. Do I now move my... No, I don't think I'm going to do that, because it's going to be too aggressive of an entry over here on TIGR. And what I see right now on the 5-minute is a topping tail candle. You know, let's not put it too much stock into one 5-minute candle, but I like possibly something into 1140 to kind of front run a little bit that 11. Help Randy. Help Randy. Shout out to Adam. Shout out to Randy, man. We love you guys. You guys are awesome. There he is. There's Neil. He's working his way back up the stairs. Get it, Neil.
Don't hurt yourself.
Don't hurt yourself. You said it. All right, what do we got there? What's going on here, Ram? Thank you. All right, so TIGR coming back down here, guys. I'm going to be interested in getting in possibly at 1140 just to take advantage of this area consolidation over here. I do have my... Get it, Katina, man. You got to put on the Palantir hat, brother. What are you pondering, Katina, man? The fantastic price action on Tiger? Yeah, he is. He is. He likes it. Shout out to Katina, man. What is what? Tiger? It's a fintech. Tiger. Oh, by the way, for anybody who is very who likes Street Fighter, apparently I was told by Big Patty Ice yesterday that I was saying it the wrong way. For it's Yoga Fire, not Ooga Fire. I'm sorry, I didn't know about that. So shout out to Dulzum. I hope I didn't offend any Dulzum fans out there. But yeah, Yoga Fire, Yoga Flame. You ever play Street Fighter?
Back in the day, like PSP, like days. Yes.
Yes, Satya.
Yeah. But I was more, I like
Joe
Tekken.
couldn't even say yes to that question.
Really?
No.
I really thought you would be into that. Tekken was
Joe.
my thing, though. You know Tekken? Yeah.
Of course.
Tekken
Yeah.
was a really badass game, yeah.
Love it. Love it. There we go. Anything you're looking at today? We got about 8 minutes left on the show before the big kahunas take over.
As of right now, I am looking at AMD. AMD, it looks like it's slowing down a little bit. I want to see a retracement around 169.34 for that dip buy, and hopefully looking at that as well. Another dip buy that I'm looking at is around this 168.84. Also looks nice. I don't think that the steam is done with this. I really don't. I think that it might retrace down a little bit and then go back up. So that is what I'm looking at. Another thing that I'm looking at is NVIDIA, because me and NVIDIA, I love me some NVIDIA. But the thing is, we struggled around this 124.47. So we're going back down to that VWAP. And so, I don't know, maybe we may not see a lot of volume for the rest of the day, to be honest. Maybe a lot of choppy action around there. But that is what I'm looking at. And then the QQQs, I really like to trade the QQQs as well, TQQs. And so kind of looks pretty similar to NVIDIA, but that is what I am looking at. How about you, Sharif?
I'm looking at Tiger here. I've been looking for a retracement. Here comes 1140. Okay, so let's see now. This is the level that I wanted because of the chop and churn at this level. I'm not going to punch in just on a resting basis. It's going to have to prove to me that this is a level. It's in fact respecting it. Show me a curl up. There's an ugly, ugly topping tail candle on the 5 right now, 1180 high. It's breaking down below 40. 1125 is where the 10 exponential on the 5 is. So it dipped into 30 rare. As you saw, got a bit of a buy order, but that's not the move yet. Let's wait. I'm not going to try to catch a falling knife here. That's an aggressive move down on TIGR. Again, 11.25 on my 5-minute chart is the 10 exponential moving average. I mean, if I can get in here, I could give it 10 pennies, right? 1130. I don't need to do that, though. There it goes. It broke down again, so I'm happy that I didn't do that. So let's see now, does it find support at the 10 exponential moving average? It just touched it. So now bouncing up a little bit over here, but still bleeding, still candles that are red, no green candles quite yet. Nor am I seeing anything to change the pattern. Still lower lows, lower highs. Let's see if it does find its footing at the 10. There's also the 11. The $11 area is where I was looking originally, which I didn't get filled, requiring me to punch in at highs, which I didn't like doing. Obviously, here we go. We're holding up a bit here with a wick right into the 10 exponential moving average, but not really getting away from it in any meaningful way. So let's see right now. Is this the area where I want to punch in? There's 5 minutes left on the show. I don't want to punch long here and have to nurse this trade. I'm going to stay clear of this one, but I do like it, guys. At $11 would be a would be a better level than where I want to get in right now, just based on the amount of chop and churn that took place at 11 for the majority of the afternoon. We were whiffling and waffling, unable to break 11. That is, of course, until we broke it. What time was that? 1:20 there. So good luck right now on TIGR, but I'm not taking the entry quite yet. Still holding up at that 11 1/3. Keeping my eye really focused on this one. Here we go. We're moving back up here on Tiger. So this one could be getting away and holding that 11 1/3. We're going to punch long here. Oh, geez, man. What am I doing? I got to take this trade out like super quick. Let's wait up here. Let's see if we can get a nice retracement, possibly into the $0.50. We're going to put our outs on this one through the break of that $0.25. So we're going to sit down here for that break. Let's see if we can get that print. Today we're awfully close. We were at 47s. Let's see if we can cross that $0.50 and wet our beak super quick so we don't have to worry about this trade while we're at the green screen. While I tell you about that, let me tell you about this. Meta continues to print all-time highs. We were talking about 591. Now we're talking about 592. 591.89 META up 1.5%. All-time highs. Every newer high at this level, guys, is all-time highs for Meta. This thing was $88 in October of 2022. That is like 2 years ago. It's up 500 some odd % since then. So
damn.
Yeah, I know, man.
Are you still holding that?
No, I held it for $100 and I was out. So I got in 133s, I got out 233s, and it's the biggest mistake I've ever made in my life.
But don't you think the $100 mark would have been the beginning, like, of new beginnings? Like $100, that's really like a psychological
You're not
level.
wrong.
I feel
Everything you're saying is right. But the psychology and taking the money off the table always seems to get in the way with me when it comes to these winners. Like I'm trying to hold like my current positions a bit more. Like I'm holding Pan Dub. I'm also I got the print by the way. I'm holding
Nice.
Pan Dub. I'm holding Apple. I'm holding Polestar. You know, I'm in the money on all of them. I never share how much I'm in the money.
Fair.
But you know, I'm trying to hold on for a little bit more. That has been my Achilles heel with day trading. It's been my Achilles heel with swing trading. And we're just trying to do better, trying to improve every day a little bit.
That is fair enough.
What are you looking at?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm looking at Coinbase as of right now. So I'm looking to get the fill at this 167.80 mark. I believe that if we can, you know, get that filled, then I think that we can flush a little bit to the downside. And I'm thinking around 166 is going to be my take profit level. Usually I would just look at like the Coinbase VWAP hold, but I don't think as of today it will hold as of right now. So I'm waiting for that flush. Hopefully we get it 167.80. That is what I'm looking for. And so I definitely think that if we can aggressively go through that VWAP, I can get filled and I can get that take profit level as well at 166. So that is what I'm looking at. And so unrelated though, what are you up to, Sharif? What are you up to this weekend?
Look what JD Roy said. She's trying to keep a straight face while looking at those googly eyes. And I know personally, I've been looking at her the entire time. She's holding back a laugh. So like I know. I'm still in Tiger. I wet my beak there at the $0.50, but I want to see if this one moves up. I'm not going to give it that much room today because we got to be off the desk in 2 minutes. It's coming down into my entry. I thought I'd take a quick scalp on this one. If I don't get that directional move quick as you like, that's going to be the end of the trade there, and that's where we're going to get out there, break even for the remaining amount. Sorry, guys, that was not an exciting trade. But I just, you know, I had to get in there because it was doing the right move. Quickly, I want to show you what I'm looking at here on Tiger before we leave. This, look, despite the fact that that's an ugly topping tail candle followed by another red candle will make a new low, the fact of the matter is we're still holding the 10 exponential. So if you're looking for a trending name, well, the trend is still intact despite this 3 candle, 2 candle pattern at this level. What I would say is if you're not going to get in here, look for an $11-ish retracement, maybe front run it a little bit. If not, look to base something off the 10. And then you could basically have your stop a skosh below the 10. And if you've done that, you still haven't been pushed out of this trade because it has not breached the 10. I mean, it breached it over here. Last time, 12:40, that's about an hour and a half ago. 1 minute left on the show. I hope everybody has a fantastic weekend. I can take these off. Wow. The world's a little different without the shades, but
I can see clearer now. The rain has gone. Dun-dun-dun.
we're singing. Ram, you missed it.
He doesn't like it.
No, she doesn't. Yeah. Anyway,
But-
guys, anything you want to leave?
It was a great trading day. I am a little bit negative on the day, got some back on Meta, so happy about that. But I'm going to have a great weekend and a birthday weekend, and you have a great weekend as well, Sharif.
Hey, all right, guys. It is almost 1:59. Satea's birthday was yesterday. Throw up ones in the chat from my girl Satea. Wish her a happy birthday. We're going to wish her all the best on the funnel cake. There
Thank
you go.
you.
Branko's yelling your name.
Yes.
He's yelling up a storm. We're going to wish you have the best funnel cake you've ever had.
I will.
And today you're going for sushi?
Yes.
You're going for sushi, so I hope you're the best sushi you've ever had.
I will.
Where are you going, Ram One? So we can't tell because we don't want the people to follow.
A nice place, a nice looking place. I'm going to get some sashimi, so yes, that's what I'm going to get.
There you go, and we're going to leave you on that note. Take it over, boys. Neil and Sean, afternoon show.
Heyo, how's it going, everybody?
It's sashimi time.
I see you can't every single time.